Do you guys want a microphone? You guys, can you hear us okay, or do you want a microphone or?
They can hear me.
I can hear good.
Micro?
This is from San Giorgio. For Stony Oaks Drive.
I lost my sound. I don't know what happened.
I can't hear her either.
No.
I wait for unsurmountable. I have had my lawn replaced 3 times. My neighbor hours to redo her front garden, only to have this
It's cutting out.
secret
You're going in and out.
about gardens and lawns destroying the
I
property.
can't hear.
Gardens and lawns are very dear to me. I now place this problem in your hands. Court. Decision must be made to remove
You're totally out of sync or with me. I can't hear anything.
We're not hearing anything.
Landscaping, how should we proceed with that concern?
Well, address it to landscaping, ask them, maybe a landscape bird. Ask them for their advice on how to manage the oak trees. I think what she's asking there is to have the oak trees physically removed because she doesn't like them. Dark trees in the lawn.
We do have pictures that I can show them to win.
I've been by there several times.
Is it what kind of oak tree?
Johnny Oaks.
It's just for oak tree.
How's it different from any other oak tree?
Oh.
Hello, we're not getting any of this
Let's see,
dialogue.
all these little new trees.
Hello? Hello? No.
So they get.
Hello?
The acorns.
We're not
Apparently
getting
they can't hear us
anything.
either.
Well, it's either that or I have the sprouts from the roots and you just snip them off. So and when it's from an acorn, I just pull it out. So I don't see that it's the reason to pull up a tree. We'll take a look at
But
it.
it's funny. Thanks.
Oh, it's in my yard.
You have a place.
Mike wants to say something.
We're not getting any of the dialogue here.
Michael Hargrave.
We're not getting any of the dialogue here.
Yeah, I'm not.
Muted.
No, I'm
We're
not either.
not. We're
You're all
getting every-
muted.
You're all muted. Can't hear you. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute.
We're not getting any of the dialogue.
How about now?
Could hear that now, but when Lindia, we didn't hear
You
anything.
need the
Lindia
speaker
said.
because the camera, you need the microphone because you need the microphone because the microphone is in the webcam.
We
That's
gotta
much
start
better.
all over again.
I'll email you guys the letter that was just read. I'll email it to them.
Well, what would you prefer? You want it emailed to you, or do you want Lindy to read it once more?
Well, what are we gonna do with it, the data today?
See if maybe I'll take a look at it.
Well, then we need to be able to read it.
Why don't you just read it again?
Hold on, here you go.
Find it again. Right. You hear me?
Yeah,
This is from Jeannie San Giorgio. 14484 Sterling Oaks Drive. For years, I've been calling Mark and Landscape Service concerning 2 sterling oaks trees. These 2 trees are female trees and extremely destructive. These female sterling oak trees drop their seedlings and grow in the grass. By cutting them in weekly service only makes the root system stronger. The destruction on lawns, gardens, and driveways are unsurmountable. I have had my lawn replaced 3 times. My neighbor has just $300 to redo her front garden, only to have this oak tree drop seedlings once again, destroying her garden. These seedlings are growing throughout our gardens and lawns, destroying our property. I cannot and will not continue to throw away money. My gardens and lawns are very dear to me. I now place this problem in your hands. Poor planning and choice of this female tree, it will continue to harvest and destroy our property. A decision must be made to remove these trees to protect homeowners plagued with this most serious destructive problem. I want to thank you for your concern. Respectfully submitted, Jeannie San Giorgio.
The committee will take a look into this.
Questions from any of you? And Cezanne, you'll send the letter to them?
Already done.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we have members speaking, secretary's report.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 22nd, 2022 board meeting.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
I,
I'm,
And
Aye.
thank you. For today, we will seek your input on a landscaping contract. We will hear from Expert Landscaping. And this company, along with Brightview, are the only 2 within our budget. I'm going to ask Expert to do their presentation directly after this, my report. They, Andy? Okay, good. So we will ask your approval today to distribute a community-wide survey for residents as part of the strategic plan update. The preserved boardwalk and the irrigation projects will be included in the survey. In November, with the consent of the executive committee, approved an expenditure of $7,200 for a golf and water feature to enhance the pool expansion project or possibly the waterfall area in front of the clubhouse. You will note from the executive committee meetings minutes that there was a discussion about restricting social memberships to 10. There has been a demand that exceeds this number to the point that some people are buying full family tennis memberships, not to play tennis, to access all our amenities. Hopefully we'll have a discussion about that later today, and if not, we will have one in an executive committee meeting next week. We can pull everyone together. I think it's time we begin to discuss this issue. Finally, the executive committee met with Russ Geiger, an irrigation consultant specialist, to discuss the status of the irrigation project. Plans to inform the community in much more depth will be forthcoming. With that, that concludes my report, and happy holidays to all. And with that, we will move into a presentation from Expert Landscape. And keep in mind, it's not our job today to approve the contract, but we do want your input. So let's hear from Expert Landscaping, and then we can have a discussion when they leave.
One quick question.
Yeah.
I didn't see the survey in the package. See it approved.
Is it not in the packet?
I thought we emailed it out.
I don't have it.
So if you could come
over here.
Well, I.
The reason is because you see how they're looking at our butts here? I'm not quite sure how, let's see if I can do this. There you go. All right, there you go.
Okay, let's see if we can get.
Was that a little bit better? No, you can't really see who we are, but anyways, come on over. Introduce yourselves and take it away. I think you want to just kind of stand over here a little bit so that you're in front of the camera right there. You can see up on the screen, that's you in the middle screen. There you go. There's Mike. Okay, gotcha. All right. Oh, it's right there. What?
My name is Mike Wentworth. Employed with Expert Lawn Care. Juan Gonzalez, he is the owner of Expert Lawn Care. Expert Lawn Care started in 2006. After many years of working with other companies himself, he started out on his own, like most people, small, and has worked his way up to one of the larger companies in the Lee and Cuyahoga County area. We do some stuff up in Charlotte County, Sarasota. We do some tree work up in there, some great big huge accounts. So it's a very big company. It's split. So we do Cuyahoga County with a branch called out of Bonita Springs. But we do have other crews that go to other areas. So we're very large. A couple certified arborists on staff for the tree work. We have currently two certified operators for pesticide use that are in-house. And then obviously all the irrigation and other departments that we have. So Sterling Oaks is a large property. Large properties are not nothing to be scared of. You just got to bid them right and have the manpower to do the job right. Today's industry, the manpower is the problem. Getting manpower is a critical thing for a lot of companies. Juan has figured that out. We do not have a problem with manpower. Our problem with manpower is we have people come and want jobs more than we can employ, which is unheard of in this industry. But he has done some things different than a lot of companies. And within a week's time, we're looking to go to work. So it's that's a good thing. That's a great thing. And then the longevity. I know one individual that works for him that many years, I don't even know how many years ago, Daniel, 14 years. So Daniel, 14 years ago, used to work in this association. He knows this association with another vendor, but he left and he's been with one for 14 years. When I went on board with Juan, traditionally you go in, you're looking for a job, you find a job, they hire you, you're employed, end of that. Juan goes a little bit further. He wants a little bit more of a commitment. So when we sat down, my commitment to Juan, his commitment to me is a 5-year commitment. It wasn't just we got hired, welcome, and if you work out in here, great. If don't, we've worked together in the past, we know each other. So he prepares himself for the future and tries to stay ahead of any curveballs that you can as much as possible. Problem with that is Mother Nature throws you a hurricane every once in a while. Believe it or not, there's a political part of this where gas prices go through the roof. That changes the profit margins. So all that has to be taken into consideration when you bid the account up front. Because 90% of the job is doing what you're saying you're going to do. Not just saying it, but doing it. So the big problem is most companies will not, because of the profit margin. And a lot of it is because they just didn't bid it right in the first place. So we've bid a lot of accounts. We know that our number in this place is what we need to do the job right with the amount of manpower and supervision that we need. Office help to do the job. So if you have any questions, we're here. And I don't know if there's any specific thing you want to touch on. Some of you may know I've worked with a couple of you in the past when I worked with a different company. So I've worked with a couple of people in here in the past. Savannah and Mark, both I worked with as well. So I got a little bit of a history. I know a little bit about your account. Your account is a very technical account. For as far as associations in this size, you have a couple factors. Your trees are big time. Obviously, wrong plant, wrong place. We've been dealing with that for a long time in here. Your irrigation. city water on some houses still. I mean, that's critical for those people in those. So there's little things that are different here that you don't deal with in some other associations. And the benefit of that is that, a couple of us have been here and know a lot. Worked with working with the people in here, your maintenance staff, and we've worked with different stuff like that over the years. So we're not coming in completely blind. We've got a very good feeling of what needs to be done to immediately get you where you need to be.
I understand that fertilizer costs are shooting up. How are you handling that?
The big thing is to fertilize at the right time of year to get the most out of the type of fertilizer. There is fertilizer, like I work with Pelican Bay and down in there. They fertilize twice a year. Fertilizer is a very, very good quality fertilizer. Twice a year. So using a quality fertilizer, it'll get you a true 3 months worth of coverage. And like I said, the biggest thing is actually doing it. That's the biggest, is most companies don't fertilize what they say they do in the contract, and that's across the scheme of things. So Mark and I have talked, I mean, when we go to fertilize, we will let you know in advance. I'll let you know in advance when we're gonna do it. You can stand out there and watch us do it. Because healthy grass fights off everything else. So this time of year, we go with a higher nitrogen and iron content fertilizer. We actually just looked at some this morning. One of our vendors has a brand new product that's out that's $8 a bag less for this time of year fertilizer. We looked at it and it's just not up to our standards. So we're going to pay $8 more per bag and go with the product that we know will work better and go from there. So money's in the contract, the money that we have bid, there's money to do your fertilizing right, and we will do it right.
Yeah, many of our homeowners to contact you or services, let's say, that aren't within us.
Yes.
Others might want to contact you regarding some kind of satisfaction with services that are in your contract.
Sure.
How do you handle that?
So if
Contact you, and how do you handle it?
our initial conversation was to start a computer entry portal where your homeowners can go online and send stuff to us through the internet. That way they can correspond with us 24 hours a day if they so desire. We obviously will not respond back at certain times, but that'll get the information to us. You had touched on two things. One is if they want something above and beyond the scope of work in the contract, contact us directly. That's directly between us and them. And then they go through the review process to make sure it's allowable through the association.
That would be through the upcoming.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. If somebody has an individual reach out about a problem with the contract or services in the contract, they will be directed to your management office. They need to contact your management office and handle it in-house that way. We will work with landscape committee, we will work with board, we will work with the property managers, but having 400 individuals dictating what's in or out of the contract, we get a little overwhelming. So if they want to work with us one-on-one, we're here. If it's something to do with the contract and scope of working in the contract that they don't believe is getting done or not done to the acceptable, if it's something that they're challenging the contract, they need to go through the management office on that. But through the portal, but if it's through the contract, they feel like we didn't fertilize when we were supposed to. That's something that's got to go through the management office. The management office has to be aware of those kind of things. So if there's a problem with the contract, if it's just that they want some shrubs trimmed, then they would use our portal and we would do it, without. But if they're saying we're not doing something we're supposed to be, the management office needs to be aware of that, and the landscape committee needs to be aware of that, so we can rectify it.
One of the communities, North Maples, is the Gator Springs, the Yellow Service.
The county and Pelican Landing, we've got a bunch of accounts in Pelican Landing, individual associations. Bonita Bay, we've got some. Pelican Bay, we've got really, really nice ones down in Pelican Bay. We go all the way down to Fiddler's Creek in towards Marco. We've got Huntington Lakes, on the Mockley Road, side down on Airport. Pretty short distance.
Is there one particular supervisor or person who has responsibility, say, for Sterling Oaks, in other words? So if there is something, you can always send them through a portal, but if there's something that's kind of immediate, someone around to talk to, that's one of the problems I've found. In their plant, there's 90% of the workers you speak to, they don't speak English.
Right, right. So yes, we have supervisors. We're very supervisor heavy. We're available. And if anybody, we send in some references. If anybody checked any of them references,
But is there one that
you will have one contact, your main contact. You will have one supervisor for your main contact. You will communicate with that one person. And then they will direct from there everything they need to do, or ask for help from Juan or I if we need it.
Problems we have with any landscaping. Okay. And that has to do with probably any company, but I know with the last two we had. So I'm trim, the mulching, that sort of thing, fertilization. How do you feel this company? The 50% from the company you were in when you were here last. Because I remember you very well and enjoyed working with you.
So the company I was with before, for those of you who don't know, I worked with Leo Jr. for over 20 years. I was actually set to retire in June. And Juan and I had a conversation. He was looking for some upper management, and I made a commitment to him for 5 years. That particular company started out strong. 2 owners, and they're on the downhill side. They're past the growing stage, and their heart's not in it for the on the short of it. Their personal friend, I worked with them 20 years. They're personal friends. I talked to both of the owners of Leo Jr. yesterday. Had nothing to do with work, just because they're friends of mine. But they want to. Their heart's not in it, and that's why I left them. My name in Cuyahoga County, because I've been here. I worked for them 20 years, but I've been doing this for 32 years in this area. I have a very good name. It means something in this town. Their name means something in this town because there's so many fly-by nights and come and goes that if you have longevity, it bodes well for you. They were on the downhill side, not doing things. Told them they should raise contract price or not, or just, if you're gonna say you're gonna do it, my thing is do it. And if you come to something where Mother Nature, the economy, whatever it has changed, and the inflation rate has gone up, and you no longer can do it for that price and make money, instead of cutting services, go to the board and say, listen, A, B, C, and D has happened, and we cannot do this anymore for this price. So you got 2 options. We renegotiate a contract, or we get 30 days and you guys find somebody at your rate, or I think being honest in communication is better. So that Juan's got this has nothing to do with me. Juan had this set up way before I came to this company. He has got one of the best run organizations I've ever seen in this industry, or none. Our irrigation department is by far the best I've ever seen. The supervisor and the crew that they have is right now, there's a lot of people, you're just hiring somebody, you're trying to train them. Our guys are very, very knowledgeable. I've been doing this, like I said, over 30 years, and these guys are on point for that. So that's just the difference in the two. Juan's younger, he's growing, he wants to grow, he's excited about it. You're not going to outwork this man. I'm a farmer, born and raised farmer. I'm sun up to sundown. I'm in the office late most afternoons if I'm in the northern end of town. I see him an awful lot in the afternoon as well. He's just not an absentee owner. So it's a good thing. It's just a good system that works real well. Big differences. One cares about the future. The other one didn't care about as much of the future. And then like I said, I talked to 2 of them yesterday. Jesus is the one that told me, it's like, yeah, I don't want nothing to do with that account. I know you don't. If he gets an account, it needs to be cookie cutter, easy, and and all that kind of stuff, so.
Well, let's go to Lanny
Yes,
and then we'll go to Mark. If you have any comments you want to make. But let's hear from Lanny first.
Do you have a portal set up for the other communities that you?
do not, we don't have a need for that currently. Like my associations have my cell phone number. My managers, the board, and most of the residents can get a hold of me through my cell phone. You have way too many homeowners to give that cell phone number out to everybody in here and have a supervisor try to keep up with it. And we would have no checks and balances through the company. Calling our supervisor directly without our knowledge, we could not do a checks and balance to make sure our supervisor's doing the job that we need them to do. So we would set up the portal.
This would be an experiment. You don't know.
Oh, no, I mean, we've all worked with portals in the past. It's a common part of the industry. But your association would have a need for it. So if you were to come back and you would say, we have voted, we want to use Expert as our vendor, we immediately call our IT guy, he throws it together for us. We have it up and running within a couple of weeks, and
It's not as what we talked about won't be as complex like Brightview. It would be more so like a link to complete an online form that they would get.
Okay.
So it would be like a template email pretty much that you would
Okay.
complete.
But so we won't be hearing back on the portal. We're able to submit a ticket, they respond that
Yeah.
they've gotten it, they tell us what they're gonna do about it.
Right. yes, so you'll get communication back on the process we're going through to get it done and also when it's completed. Yeah. Yes, you'll get
We'll mark it and help you with that also.
yes, anybody you direct will get that copy. You know, we can send it to as many people as you want it to.
Yeah, we want to be cautious. If someone requests a tree to be removed, that it just doesn't.
Right. Right.
Another-
No, that's all part of the review process. We'll give them the information they need, and then they take it to the review board to make decisions.
So Suzanne, in what ways is it gonna be different?
With Mike, if you guys choose them to make sure that it's sufficient, I believe the way we talked about, they'll have communication back, but it won't be as complex. So Brightview portal is currently with private logins. and such.
But the login is, I mean, I'm just trying to understand what you're saying is gonna be different.
When we spoke about it before, it was just gonna be a direct link from our website.
Okay. And Mark, you were gonna talk about leaves?
We're just gonna ask that,
You guys have leaves?
not really. Only people in Sanctuary Point.
Yeah.
They live up around 1720, that they have a lot of leads. But, we see that, you know, we have the leaf drop, which occurs in those times.
Right.
But we also have, throughout the year, leaf cleanup that would be needed, I guess, a little more, timely manner, rather, because I think that your contract basically said that as you do the trimming stuff, when you clean up the debris, you'll clean up the leaves with it.
Right.
In the middle of the leaf drop situation, say here in later in the spring, early winter when they go down, is there a way for us to have that ability to keep those leaves under control, or are you going to just mow and mulch them at that point in time in between the trimming cycle?
Sure. So, okay, so the trimming cycle, when we come through 6.5 weeks on schedule, those guys will trim. What they trim falls down, they have to rake it up. So when we rake the bed, we will blow the leaves out, we will rake them up, we'll put them in trucks, we'll take them off property. That's part of your basic maintenance. So you got 6.5 weeks till we come back. We all in this room know that you can clean up leaves one day, and within 2 to 3 days, looks like you didn't do anything, depending on the time of year. So there's terminology in the contract that at any point you guys want a complete cleanup, we will come in and completely clean up Sterling Oaks with a separate crew and remove them from the property. So that's option that you can do. The other thing is when we do our mowing, this time of year, we do every other week mowing. So when we do our mowing, if there's leaves in the yard, they're gonna get mulched with mulching deck. We won't clean up every time before we mow. And on our point, leaves being there is a beneficial thing because it's additional nitrogen and that goes into the soil. Every time we remove it, we remove stuff from the property that's beneficial because of aesthetics. When we can mulch and put them in grass, that's a good thing. If they lay on the grass and smother the grass, that's a bad thing. Those are things that that we mow, that will happen. Weeds we do not mow. If it's in a driveway or if it's in the roadway, we're going to work on different sections of the association and blow them into piles. We will not blow pads, we will not blow yards. But in the driveway, we got to blow the driveway every time anyways. And in the streets, we will clean time of year in between the weeks that we mow. So you'll be getting weed cleanup, but you know, there's going to be times where you'll need the front, the back, side to side cleanup, and that terminology is in there with the pricing for that at any point. That you want.
Let me paraphrase that. We never got to the point where we need to get rid of the leaves, and it's outside of the schedule. Well, we would have the ability to do that if we're willing to pay for it. Is that right?
Correct.
And I think that pricing is.
Pricing in the proposal, so it's there.
Okay.
So you guys, you know,
Twice budget.
It's in the budget as well.
You mean that's special, what I call special week?
Yes, yeah, so you 2 times is included in your dues for 2023 at experts costs. If you want additional, then it would be additional.
They would do those times when it was necessary in the contract, plus every 6.5 weeks as they do their trim.
Okay.
So another clarification, it sounds like if a homeowner rakes their own grass, puts the leaves in the driveway.
right. Yeah, we'll pick that up.
You'll pick that up.
Right.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Any questions, from those of you up north? Good.
What would be the price of a special leaf pickup?
I going off the top of my head, I believe it was 7,500 to do the whole association, front to back, side to side. Common ground in all your homes.
That's in the contract.
That's written in the contract in bold print, actually. It's easy to see, so.
Okay, I'm going to relax our meeting for a moment and ask if there's anyone in the audience that has a question. This would be a good time to raise it while we have our people here. Yeah.
Mike, obviously, you know a lot of this pretty well, and you did a great job. Thank you. Say that as a what will be your continuing on story? Obviously, some training about how we work and sort of continuing basis. Will you be involved in our oversight of our property, not as a supervisor, I understand. But you're going to be very involved.
100% that has not been discussed in full. I will tell you, and I'll let Juan say this in a minute, but I will tell you, our company is very team oriented. So when I need help, Juan walks by my office daily. He'll ask me one question: do you need help? That's his only question. I don't care what it is. Do you need help? If you need help, that's your time to say it. If you say it, he'll get it done for you. He'll help you out. If you don't say it and you don't get something done, he will also come to you and say, hey, this, you could ask me for help, and I would very much help you. That's our team in general. So I have other things I'm assigned to that I'm currently doing. I will tell you that born and raised on a farm, when I'm done with my stuff, if someone needs me, I will be up here. Our supervisor will not be left in the dark at any cost, and they'll have our, him or her will have our support, both Juan's and I. Anything or that?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Juan Gonzalez. As Michael said, I'm the owner of the business, but another organization. It's just one owner. I told everybody, like every manager, it's the owner. Take a pride to make sure everything is delivered. To answer the question, we're going to have a supervisor on job site full time according to the contract. Then Mike, he's going to be here You guys need him here, of course. And if there's anything that needs to be done separately, if I have to be involved, I will come here at the office and or meet with anybody, especially when times comes with removing a tree. Homeowners gonna want a letter, recommendation, all that kind of stuff. Of course, we're gonna be involved. Mike, he's not gonna be here full time, but he's available anytime if we need to. Okay. Heard everything what Mike said, and then the question you guys answer is very important. One way I think with the company, my company is, I did work for 12 years with Apple Big Business. And then one way thing I learned is whenever the company is growing and it's getting big, most of the time they start dropping the quality of service what they deliver in the contract. So when I build my business, very important to me to make sure deliver everything what you have on the contract. Number one. Two is make sure the customer service follow up. It's going to get delivered. Everybody is important. Any resident is important. If they have any concern, even if it's just tiny little stuff like they need to be pruned or removed, everybody is important. They're going to get that service. We'll make sure we follow up. We'll make sure we're going to resolve the problem. If there's something we can't resolve, sometimes people, they want this hedge like too high, they want it too low, and there's a standard what height the plant's going to be. That's when we can get involved with the company and come up with a solution and resolve. I think that's very important. I heard about fertilizer. It's very important to talk about fertilizer because it's like everything else. You can find fertilizer for $15, $14 per bag. When I built my business, I was paying like $10, $12. Now, we just got a price for $31 per bag. Quality material, obviously. And we only purchase or supply with Site One, which is that used to be Lesco. They went to John Deere, now it's Site One. But they keep delivering their product, and it's a really good product. It's expensive, but guess what? It's important. We want to make sure your grass looks green. We want to make sure your plants look green. We want to make sure the food is there. But if we choose lower product, obviously the look of the community is going to change. Very important for my company is if my truck is going to park somewhere in here, it's my presentation. It's my name, and I want to make sure that's going to be looking nice. If not, I will come straight to you guys and say, hey, we're not going to work out, and we can test it out. Because I don't want to come here and just get paid the lowest possible and trying to cheat here and there. It's not me. That's one of the reasons I build my company. That's one of the reasons I decide to leave every company and then just start my own. We start out only one of my brother and myself back in 2006 on September. And right now we're running more than 8 employees. And the company keeps growing, but we keep delivering. Not sure if you guys have made some phone calls with reference, if you guys need to still, and reference. And one of the things we don't advise to those reference if somebody's going to call. Just give up the phone number. One of the customers, they called me up and said, hey, we got a phone call from Sterling Oaks. Are you going to leave us because you're going to the big company, big community? And I said, no. We service on the small HOA, and we service on the big HOA. But everybody that deliver, everybody, we treat the same. You guys, it's a big community, yes, but you guys gonna get the same treat like everybody else. Because no one is too high, no one is too low, or deliver is the same. And I really thank you, everybody. I don't know how we got here, But the name is out here. We put the estimate together, and this is our second time here with Mike. And I really appreciate it for thinking on expert lawn care, for giving us the opportunity to put on your community. And then if you guys decide to move with our company, I will say like in 6 months, you're gonna see the difference on this community. It's not gonna change overnight. I draw with my flowers, I look at the plants and I look at everything and it's not gonna change soon, but it will get there. In a year, that will look different. I'm here to work with you guys. I love to take over this community, but I understand this economy is tough. Sometimes saving it's not worth. Sometimes it works. So it's up to you guys if you guys want to take over. But we are excited to take over the community, and anything you guys need, we are here. And then we talked about with Mike, if we have to put another email, create another email separately just for the board, for the management company to contact us directly. If they don't want to use that or what we want to create, we can do that too. But we have IT guys in our office willing to put everything together. We haven't created one because, again, for customer service, direct contact, talking with people. I mean, it's been really good. We haven't seen any necessarily to create one, but I understand this HOA, it's a pretty good size, and yes, we can. Any question?
I think you want.
Yes.
Dedicated team here that just works in Sterling Oaks, or will they be here some of the time when we'll be here? Something. And if so, how big is the team?
We offer a team to stay here full time, and we offer a team to come in 2 days, 3 days to mow the grass, and we'll leave. But it's up to the board and the management company. We can have a crew here full time. Trimming, mowing, irrigation, and supervising full time.
That's one of the questions that, because you're growing, because we're much larger, a lot of your other associations are 100, 200, less than that. Some are big, 432 singles plus the common areas. It's a town. We expect somebody to be on property 51 weeks a year. Is that correct?
Correct.
So we also know that from past experience that when companies grow and they move and they do have to take parts of their crew to go to another establishment, and sometimes get left behind and we fall behind in either trimming schedules, detail work, and items like that. That's why I think it's one of the things that we're looking for is to have a full-time crew on the ground, making sure so that if you're not on a 2-week, you're on a 2-week mowing period, but the week that you're not mowing, that's the time that you can be doing detail work, weeding, edging, trimming, and other items that need to be done. Is that something that you guys are going to provide?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I guess the second thing is that our landscaping committee, of course, meets monthly, and part of our goal and mission is to make sure that we have replacement. As you know, Mike, we have several areas within the community where the landscaping is 20 plus years old. It's probably a lot of it's reached its useful life and needs to be redone. Are you going to be the person that meets with the landscaping committee to assist them in design and installment, or is it going to be another individual?
Your on-site supervisor will be capable of doing any of that. If at any point it's above and beyond or wants help, then I will be here.
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
so
that would be here.
okay, I guess then the only thing is that on the qualifications for the on-site supervisor, does he have a background and a knowledge? Does he have any certifications or understanding, arborist, IPM, anything that he's going to be in control of to meet with the committee and us? Does he have the full capability? Because we know you.
Yeah.
We know your background. We trust you on your understanding Is this other person going to have that wherewithal to be able to do that job as well?
I guess
Yes.
that's the easiest way I'll tell you, because this keeps coming up. This is what I'll tell you. Until you have a rapport like I have with some people, you've worked with me, you know my good, you know my bad, you know everything. We've worked together. Until you have that rapport with your new supervisor, I'm available. I'm here. I would not do that to my fellow coworker, just throw them in here anyway. But whoever that is, I will be here initially helping get things worked out. At some point, I will behind that person's back, come to whoever and say, hey, are you comfortable with me missing a couple meetings? You got this? You guys can handle this, right? If you need me, I'm here, a phone call away. But that's, that I wouldn't want anybody, like I said, this is a very complex account. So I want the supervisor to be able to know that and not get overwhelmed. I want them to work fast to work with. So yes, early on I will be here more than I will be long term. We all know the end goal is for me not to be here as much because I have other commitments. But until that is reached, then our supervisor, and I don't think it'll take very long for the supervisor before the level of their expertise. And you'll know if you want me involved or not. You just send an email, say, can I have both of you at this meeting? Bam, we'll figure it out and we'll go from there. So,
Okay, we need to move this along. I'm going to ask Larry Schuster if he has a question, then we'll go to Brown. Then we'll see if we can line this up.
Yes, I had a question. The first question is, I have some Zora and I visited my yard. Now, usually when they start to bloom, that's when they come and cut them down. So I never see any flowers on those. How do you address that?
depends on if the plant's planted in the right spot. So if the hibiscus is planted or an Zora is planted out in the yard where it can get 5 foot wide by 5 foot tall and left natural, then we want to leave it natural because we want it to flower. If that same hibiscus or Zora is between your garage wall and your sidewalk in a 2 foot area, it's got to be cut to maintain it. So that's where we'll work with you. But if we want it more natural, we want a more natural look with less hedges, and it keeps the plant healthier. Gives you more flowers for those flowering kind of plants.
Okay, I'll go on to my second question. My second question concerns palm trees. When they come in and trim the palm trees, they remove the brown fronds, the brown ones, they're brown in color. And they also move some of the next ones up, next one go green. Now, I understand from Florida, agricultural department, I guess very well respected in the state of Florida.
Yes.
Then when you cut them, cut the green fronds, that eliminates the plants absorbing the nutrients that are in the fronds. And so the nutrients are lost forever because they're taken away.
Some of them, yes.
So then you have to add more fertilizer to that. Now, you follow their guidelines and not just take off the brown fronds, or you take everything, plus a couple layers up.
I would love to follow their guidelines because their guidelines are right. It's the healthiest thing for the plant to only remove dead fronds. The problem is we live in a place called Naples, Florida, and we worry more about aesthetics than we do plant health. So if I was to only come in and trim the brown off your palms once a year and nothing else, the majority of your homeowners would go berserk. So yeah, so there's a right way and there's a way that 90% of associations do it. Now, what type of palm are we talking about?
Wait a minute, let's not get into the weeds here. We've got a meeting to get through.
Good.
So, Larry, if that
Question.
okay.
Concerning shade trees. Okay. I appreciate what the landscaper has done in the past for us in the way of trimming the shade tree and allow for hurricane wind when it came through with Ian to go for the trees,
Right.
hit the trees and then people them over.
Right.
I hope that you will continue that so that you cut out one of the limbs and not to say, okay, I'm allowed to that here to cut trees. Thank you.
Okay. That ends my liberal interpretation of the board meeting. So we'll keep it strictly to the board members at this point. Brownie, after you, we'll try to settle on to another item.
you do take on Sterling Oaks, how much of that will be handled by your current manning, or how much additional manning we have to hire? In other words, what I'm really saying is, you're gonna have to hire more new people to do, how are you gonna handle?
No, we're ready. I can come in here and mow your holes next week.
Another way of saying it is your current crews are not at 100% capacity.
Right. Right now, we carry more people. So we've had two things that happen. One, we had a hurricane. Since that hurricane, have been added 40 some employees since the hurricane alone. So in the time frame where no one can find help, we put on at least 40 employees. So we cherry pick the best out of those to keep for our maintenance.
Plan would be basically to service us with your current manpower.
Right. Well, we would service you with our current manpower and then hire manpower for our next association. We're going to pick up, so we're ready.
So I'll answer that probably better for you. When I wanted to grow my company, I mean, we always have few more extra people getting trained on the crew. Like right now, we're using them for trees removal and for the hurricanes, and we're using them with extra planting, stuff like that. But we always carry few more people extra getting trained. So we're ready to move on community. And since the soonest if we take over this community, we're gonna use those people, all right? And then now we're gonna hire more new people to get trained and continue going to pick up another community. It's not new people. Yes, yeah. Yeah, I understand the concern is like where we're gonna get 5, 7, 8 people.
Well, it's gotta be a big concern with a company like yours where you
Correct.
new contracts and lose them.
Yes.
Hey, gang, we've got a lot to cover.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to leave you with one thing that I think will sum this up for some of you. I know you guys enjoy doing this every 3 years. But in honesty, with this company, if you'd like to not have to do this for quite a while, Juan's company next is definitely a goes for it. So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys have a great hour.
thank you, folks.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering what the percentage of the community use portal successfully. This year, that's a big thing or not?
The big thing.
It's a big thing.
Thank you. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, it was good today.
Okay.
Okay,
And Mark, did you hear him say that when people have complaints about mowing or trimming or edging not being appropriate, that goes to you, not to them?
And well, I think he said that it has to do with contractual obligations. In other words, I feel like if they're not getting the contractual obligations, they're missing their 6-week
Right,
trimming schedule.
right.
They're not taking care of the backyard. I get that anyways now.
Right, okay.
And, I emailed Dustin probably,
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure that.
six emails just alone today
Yeah.
went out to Brightview on various subjects, not having things done. So,
okay, Mark, take us away with
all
your.
right, here we go. It's quick and easy, hopefully. Strategic plan, the survey that has been looked at. Jerry Schoenfeld has got that ready to go. I think we'll make sure that it's in the minutes. It does have questions about the boardwalk and also the irrigation project. This is a lengthy survey, but I think it's going to be very important to get the baseline demographics. What this does is that it'll help us understand the people that have bought over the past 2 or 3 years, what their viewpoints and their opinions are about the community based on their time here compared to the group that has been here for quite some time. So that should be very good for us. And Larry Schuster, I think, this has been going on since how long, Larry? This has been, the surveys have been going on for a long time. A huge help to the community. So I know that you've worked on it fast.
We got started together.
Yeah.
That was probably about 8 years ago.
That's right. So what?
You want to go on to the next one?
What's the next one?
The next report. I want to make a comment about the strategic plan, ask you a question. I don't know what everyone's looking at this point, but we saw this at the EC meeting. We struck every reference in this strategic plan to would require a one-time capital expense, would require corresponding increase in dues, etc. Is the one that's going to go out straight those? Or- The second thing we talked about is completely eliminating number 14. Which of the following would you prefer as a means for paying? Is that struck from the new one? Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
You want me to do a copy of the new one?
Yeah, new one.
No, I don't need it.
All right. The monuments. My understanding, I saw them working on the monuments yesterday to put in Deer Creek Preserve and Wildcat. Brownie tells me today that the font looks funny. It doesn't match the outside font on the back or the front monuments. I did not get to see it yet, so I will follow up on that. But I saw them painting and putting it all together, so I'll get some more information on that ASAP. Irrigation, the irrigation project. Russ, as Paul told you all that Russ Tiger came back to us at the EC meeting. One of the questions came up was, okay, so you guys are thinking about putting in a new main line with trollers. I think it's important for the community and everybody else to know, the board to know, that if they're going to be putting in a new pipe, it's going to be running by your house. If you're not in on your own water, or if you're in Sacred Point on your own water, it is not going to affect you that way. Chad, for instance, who lives in Manatee, his neighbor, and possibly another home could be on the same clock. And when that clock goes click and it's time for the water to come on, all the houses on that go out at the same time. There's no way to figure out how to manage Chap's water needs versus his neighbors. They just all come on at the same time. So I think that the question that came up was, if we are going to move further down the road and supply Chap with his own valve, so he can be, so we can monitor and master the watering on his own property, not his two neighbors, how do we get that, and how is it managed? What would the cost be incrementally to move forward to get that done? Because the current plan only puts in a main line going by your house, where there's going to be a stub out, and it'll connect to your valve and give you water. But in the case of Wildcat, in the case of Manatee, Tavernier, Little Bend, you, your neighbor, maybe another house, sometimes two other houses, can all be on the same valve and all get the same watering cycle. It's inefficient because we find out that there's some places that don't need the water, some do, some are overwatered, some are not, because it goes on for the same amount of time on all of those three houses, regardless of the need that may be present. So we're gonna get a little more information from that. Stallman, who Russ has given us, they had the best bid, they had the best numbers, they had the best response to the RFP. Is going to be here next week, and I'm going to meet with them and irrigation crew, Ignacio from Brightview, who also was with Leo Jr., to go to these houses and find out what it is incrementally, how the houses connected together, and how would they be separated if we needed to get down that road, and what the costing might be. Because there may be some people that say, listen, if you're going to put in that and you're going to charge me X, how much would it be to have, my own, being able to monitor my own yard without my neighbor's water as well. So that's coming down the pipe. the expansion of the eastern end of the pool area down here, I did get confirmation, the permit is done. Here on January 3rd. The week of January 3rd, it should be, the pool being done with the fencing and, the pavers as well. Chairs and umbrellas have been ordered. They are on a 6 to 8 month backlog. So we will see them sometime later on in the year. We still have plenty of chairs left over. We have been repairing them as needed. So we expect to have at least 125 to 130 chairs out there for the season when that gets here.
What type did you order this time?
These are the ones, the umbrellas are the pin and pulleys. And I only ordered 10. And they'll just be strategically placed around because they're easier for the shorter people and people that don't have to stand up and pull them up and put the pin in. So we'll have those around.
And the chairs.
And the chairs are the 18-inch high chaise lounges that have the arms on them that were picked out by the pool committee at the time with the same kind of tan. I think they'll blend in pretty nicely with what's on there.
But the same kind of
Sling material,
Okay.
yes. But I think it's a better chair.
Okay.
If we vote on that, we did expansion on the chairs and the umbrellas, that's all.
I'm just replacing chairs and umbrellas because they're breaking. So I mean, I put in an order for chairs and umbrellas 4 or 5 months ago. Because I know that it takes that long to go get 10 at a whack. So it's not that, it's only $3,000 or $4,000 that does once in time. Doesn't have to do with an expansion. It actually has to do with.
Even if it's a replacement, then if it's over a certain amount of money, then we're going to have to come and get it.
If it gets above, like today, if it's over 10 grand, then definitely you guys are gonna have to get involved.
I didn't know we made chairs.
Yeah, I'm only getting them as I need them. I don't want to wholesale replace. That'd be a lot of money. So we don't need to go there. All right. So Blue Stream, we had a meeting on Monday. I think we have 24 homes have not been installed. 24 units. So because there's a fair amount of those are condominiums that have not switched over. We don't know the reason why they haven't.
Most of them are like avid Comcast people or Canadians or people that live in Europe that just aren't going to.
Right. So we'll as time goes by, we probably get there. But in the meantime, we're dealing with that. I can tell you that I'm still in touch with other communities that are dealing with Blue Stream, and they're finding that they're having their kind of oddities from time to time. Problems that occur with some of the customer services. For instance, in here right now, we're waiting on them to provide us with the community channel. You guys all have 901 community channel. We'd like to have it in here so that when we start working on it, we can actually see what we're doing with it. You don't know yet? Live community channel is gonna. It really. I thought it was. It goes out tomorrow. Well, anyways, there we go. News flash. We've been working behind the scenes on a community channel that basically it'll kind of be like what you see out on the TVs here that has updated flyers, what's coming up, items of interest. The news and views of the community will be out there on an ongoing basis. Laura is working on that, and we're trying to get it up and running in here so that we can actually see what we're doing. So that goes out tomorrow.
It's channel 901.
901.
Now, but we haven't put that information.
The holiday employee holiday fund. I just want to say, wow. Thank you to the entire community for their assistance in this. We had a lot of our employees really went through some tough times with the hurricane, some more than others. I can only tell you that the generosity has been overwhelming, and I know that there's going to be a lot of very happy employees here as soon as we distribute that, I think in the next week or two. Food and beverage operations. We are going 7 days a week in January. Yes, we are gonna be open on Monday after Christmas. Yes, we're gonna be open on New Year's Day, down at the Cabana. So, we're gonna have people on property to assist you if you have your family in town. I can only tell you that, we're selling out of events quickly. And it's gonna be a robust season. I think that, it's gonna be a great season here. We are stacked and packed with members. Tennis has gone crazy. Food and beverage operation is doing well. Activities, pickleball. Sterling Oaks has really gone from here to here in its usage and its amenity facilities participation. So kudos to all with that.
We're going to have a serious talk as a board about this phenomenon and where it all will take us. And to that end, talk a little bit about the area down here that you're cleaning out.
And so in the very back by Court 12, over the years, it's been a dumping ground. Concrete blocks, tennis clay, other debris, vegetation debris, has all been piled back in there over the years. For whatever reason, it's just been kind of a dumping ground. I had last year, because there was so much growth in there from invasive species. We had a lot of Brazilian pepper and a lot of vines and a lot of stuff in there, and they were growing all the way into Court 12. We had them knocked back, and I spent quite a bit of money removing a lot of that vegetation, and it left the mounds, and we kind of found out what was there. I had Alan going down there right now, and he is cleaning out those mounds. He's not going far back. He's not going over to 41. He's just going to get the dirt and the old stumps and debris and concrete out of those mounds, and just clearing that out. We're going to leave it as a dirt area, probably put down a little bit of gravel or something like that, just so because it's sugar sand. We don't want anybody getting stuck. The staff come in the afternoons, especially in season. There's nowhere to park, and you're out on the roads. My staff, we could even use that as an overflow spot for some of our stuff. Alex and I both have pickup trucks. We could be able to use that. She's really cheap, so it might give us just that couple extra spaces so that we're not taking up valuable space in front of the pool area, like you can see right now where we've got flags. That's for our staff, so when they get here, they have a place to park, because otherwise they'll be parking in the driveway and at points beyond. I have one last thing, and that is something that Terry, a long time ago, you got off the board, and in 2022 you finished your thing. I have your plaque here for you. I'd like to say that, it's appreciation of your dedicated service as Sterling Oaks board member from 2019 to 2022. I kind of want to make sure that you get this. So a little late, but you were kind of coming and going, and we never got a chance to really get this to you.
Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Terry.
All right, Mark. Paul's blessing, we need to go back to the irrigation subject. He wants to do this now. Mark and I wrote a summary of where we stand with the irrigation project. You have all received it. I don't know if you've read it, but you've received it. With the exception of misspelling sanctuary point by not having an E after the word. The only other comment that I have received is that this summary fails to discuss anything beyond the main line and main control aspect of this irrigation project. It's got nothing to do with the individual owners' layout of their pipes and heads and that kind of thing. We could certainly add something to this clarifying that.
Well, I think Lanny did have some other suggestions about
Did you
about
get-
that.
Did you
So
get all my suggestions?
Well, those are the only two that I got.
Oh, there were a bunch.
Oh,
And
okay.
she had a look.
the repairs of the will get water. And we said that they will not get water.
Right, these are, I changed yours. I just, on the bottom part where your other stuff is. I think needed to defer to the board or to, to the General Assembly to have them, kind of look at it and say, yeah, that makes sense. To add it,
That's
to
fine,
edit it.
but I did,
But I
I
just
did
wanna-
say-
Well, I saw that. I didn't understand it. I mean, right now it says the pumps will be shut off and water to lawns and landscaping will be available when repairs are made.
No, it will not be,
it will not be available while repairs are being made.
because if the repairs are being made, you can't get any water, so you should fix one, which I put in the new one that we just did, sent out. Not that I didn't,
What do you mean sent out? Sent out to who?
just now. 2 minutes ago. Magic,
Did we all get it?
you will, it's all part of that, I changed the points, like you told me, and I put in the not. I didn't add the other 3 or 4 items down below discussing the survey and the other items that you had put in there. I kind of wanted to at least get the board's blessing on making those changes rather than having to be unilateral on.
Let's let Chad get this presentation, then we can ask questions.
Well, as amended, which I have in my hand, which adds the word not. And it puts an E on the end of point. This is what Mark and I and Paul are recommending we send out to the community as soon as possible.
Landy, why don't you bring up your other points?
I'm emailing you their current one that they're looking at right now.
I also recommended something like based on did I have the
Here.
microphone?
Throw this down and give her a microphone.
Based on recommendation from Hydrological Irrigation Design and Consulting Engineering, the recharge well for retention pond 5 between Willow Bend and Deer Creek has been repaired and is functioning. This well and the improved efficiency are expected to permit the addition of the Sanctuary Point and Deer Creek homes. This, just as a note, this is really important to those who currently live on these lots because they are deserts in the winter currently. And there is great opposition towards taking more water out, but they don't know this has happened. So I think it's important to tell them that. We've been told before that this project may be completed in 2 phases. Is that still true? I think we should add that. The next bullet is this project does not address distribution sprinklers pipes at the lot level at this time. HIDCE recommended replacement. Based on previous recommendations from reserve fund professionals, we currently have no fund for irrigation in our reserve fund account for pipes or the control system. The board will consider adding funds in the future. And last thing is strategic plan homeowner survey will be updated in January and will include a question about this project. So that people will be looking forward to responding at that.
Essentially 3-4 points that could be included in this. How do you feel about that? The last one is going to happen anyway, so it's in there. You don't have to include.
I think it's important to tell people that the ponds can handle it. Is your first point?
I think that's real critical.
I don't have any problem
Okay.
adding that. What's the second one?
The fact that it can be done in 2 phases.
I don't understand that.
Well, Russ kind of said that, you can put in any kind of.
Right.
However, I'm not going to guarantee you pricing. I'm not going to guarantee you timing, I'm not
Well,
gonna
I didn't
guarantee
hear
you.
his new
Yes,
presentation.
he goes, to be honest with you, that's probably something you may or may not want to consider simply because of availability of product, pricing and timing. You could end up going one way and then not getting anything done for some time in the future, simply because we don't know what.
And the average resident won't care about that.
The third one,
The third one is this project does not address distribution, sprinklers pipes at the lot level at this time. HIDCE recommended placement in the city.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem adding that whatsoever. I think I'd just leave it up as first sentence that you suggested, which was this project does not.
Address distribution. I quoted that right from one of
Russ's thing.
Russ's previous reports.
I don't have any problem adding that sentence at the end.
That's fine.
And I don't have any.
Yes, I can, but
The next one was about the fact that we have no reserve funds.
I don't want to get into that.
People need to know that we don't have reserve funds for it.
So this is a major expense of cattle and assessment. The current best estimate is $2.5 million. If I was addressing the community on this, I think I would tell them, they were looking at a $2.5 million. You have no reserves to cover this. We may have some money at other sources like capital fund and the long-term capital fund to help pay for some of this, but I can't promise you or give you any number on that right now.
also don't have any knowledge of financing this town either.
Well, right. I mean, I know we don't have that, but I know we have nothing in reserves.
You know, I just,
For that is a county. All they need to know, what is it going to cost? How big is the project? How does it impact?
But
There's only one question, George. I know there's no big money, but there are some small pieces in the reserves that would be applicable, like replacing. In other words, as part of this project, there are some small numbers in the reserves. The lead or irrigation that would be part of doing this.
some stations are currently, according to the study, they are in the reserves. They are not necessarily anything needed to be done with them at this time, so the monies would not be utilized for any of that.
We couldn't take that money.
Thought there was some other than the pump station, some other small items in there. I looked through that reserve fairly detailed.
I think there's $10,000 or $11,000.
Small numbers, not a lot of money, but
There and there.
it might be a few $100,000 total over 30 years.
Oh, over 30 years.
Okay, let's keep rolling, gang.
We're
Let's,
looking at a 50-year project. I mean, big project.
so Mark, if you could make those changes,
I'll get it.
I guess we can send it out.
I'll get it back out to the board for your.
Are
before
you
I do that.
including the reserve fund comment?
No,
I don't think we need to
I'm
get
sorry.
it to the board. I think we get that approval now, here and now.
All right. Okay,
If there's any objection to it, I want to hear it now.
all right.
Otherwise,
Vision, but once this goes out, as soon as we can schedule it, probably in January, we'd have a town hall meeting.
yeah.
Where the speakers would be,
Russ is ready. to do
Paul and me and Russ Geiger. Just tell everyone what's going on.
Right.
And ask for questions and
That'll delay the survey if you're gonna do the 10th of January. Because he was planning the survey to go out January 4th.
what's the latest survey?
I think you wanted to have the irrigation information in front of the community prior to the survey, so they know what their vote, like what that question means.
We can't have it.
This,
You can.
what we just
We-
wrote is going out to the entire community. So what more do they need to be able to
Well, put it this way, if the survey
tell
comes
us if
back
we
and it says
complete the survey?
78% of the people say that they are interested in having it, then it's fairly moot at that point in time.
Jeff, I think they want to answer questions, I mean, have they want to be able to ask questions and get reassured, about, certainly they'll ask about financing, but in order to get support on the survey, we need to give them an opportunity to talk about.
Well, how critical is the question? We're going to send this flyer out to every resident of the community. They will have read that. And we will have a town hall meeting, and they may or may not have completed the survey in the interim. It's not critical. There's only one box there. So the survey isn't going to change our direction one way or the other. Well, and eventually they'll come to a vote. That's the critical point. In March sometime, we will have had a town hall meeting. We will have had some feedback from the survey. They will have gotten this. So I don't think that timing is that critical.
Okay,
It would be ideal, but I don't think it's critical.
So you're saying that, take Mark's example, if 78% of the respondents are against doing an irrigation project, you're going to go for a vote on it anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I've got a question on this irrigation.
Ask them if you're not.
Well, I think it perks their interest in understanding that we have this major project in the works. And then we'll have a town hall meeting. They may or may not know, but they will have seen it in the survey, and it will perk their interest, and they'll be here for the town hall. They will have had their answers, and we'll put it before them in March. Lindia.
Ken's also got.
And Ken. Lindia, let's go to you, then Ken Sloan.
I don't. Can you add to your survey a point where it says, but I do need to know more about this?
But it says needs strongly, or no interest, have interest in it. It's really what it is. I'm interested in it, gives you the opportunity to get more information.
I think that's sufficient. Let's go to Ken Swallen, then Browning.
Well, I got a question on, does this affect the total community equally? I know in the condos and coach homes, we paid for our own irrigation systems. The only thing we do is get fed off of the main line at some point. So
I know where you're.
I'm not sure how this affects everybody in the community.
I know where you're going.
You got
with this.
304 doors in
Does affect them.
condos and coach homes.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going. I think I know where you're going with this. Question you're implying is if we have to assess to do this, does every door pay the same amount? I think that's where you're going. I think there's.
Well, I'm going to get asked that question, I know.
I think there's a legal issue with that. So I can't answer it.
I have Brownie and then John Mulligan. But Ken, are you finished with your question?
Survey is addressing a long-term strategic plan. I think the last survey looked at that 2.5 years ago. With these two things going on, my proposal would be wait until March to put the survey after we deal with the irrigation thing. There's no urgency on the survey. We're looking at a long-term plan that we had a survey 2.5 years instead of. Plus, since some of us didn't see this 5 minutes ago, got a number of comments. I can see that take some time. I would propose that we delay the survey, say to March, there's no urgency, and deal with the irrigation.
I can't see that delaying the survey.
Yeah, I don't.
What's the urgency?
The survey's not made by the board either.
Entire survey.
Particularly since we I haven't even seen it 5 minutes ago.
Well, it's not, I don't know if the survey, we hired an independent individual to specifically do the survey so that we could have a baseline marker off of exactly what we've done before for the strategic planning Two is that we want to make sure that we have ample time to be able to get everybody in season. And then the focus groups go on during season while everybody's here prior to the summer months. But if we do it in March, there's no chance of getting everybody involved and then moving on as we get into June, July. It doesn't help us with that planning. I think that that's why we're doing it. according
John
to
Mulligan,
him. And he's the pro.
John Mulligan.
Yes, to answer Ken's question, this $2.5 million is just the lines going down between the condos, next to the houses and all that. So it's going to be shared equally between everybody. It's not that the condos have one valve for one building. So there's, 8 residents or 32 residences. We're not going to that next level yet. So this is just the main piping going down all the roads between all the houses and the condo. So this, from this aspect of it, the 2.5 million is going to be shared equally because there's no, once you get to the next part, doing valves and all that sort of stuff, it would be a big difference. But at this point, it's the same amount. It's going to be for everybody because it's.
And in addition to the pipes, we're also dealing with what I call a simplistic control system that needs to be replaced.
But once again, that's all across the whole community.
Right.
Okay. So, Mark, does that conclude your report?
Are you making a motion to approve the amended letter for distribution to the community?
That Mark amends the letter, sends it out. And
I'm gonna send it to you and Paul and Lanny,
yeah,
just for your quick blessing to make sure I didn't miss a comma, E or X, Y, Z. You never know.
It's not a comma. Come on.
Let me,
all right, so you send it out.
I'll just make sure that we do it now. Get CC and we'll send it on.
Okay, do I have a second on this motion?
The motion is Mark sends out the revised statement to Paul and Lanny and me. And then if we're okay with it, he sends it out. That's the motion.
Okay, John
Second.
Mulligan, do you second that motion?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of the motion signify by raising your hand and saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Passes.
I'm abstaining. Not voting because.
It probably abstains.
Vote and that we have something happening afterwards.
Yeah, I don't even know why we had to vote on that. I think we just, there's no problem. We just
That's
take
what
care
I'm
of it.
saying. Vote on the way.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so it's done. Mark's report, anything else, Mark? Oh, I think we'll do the back gate at new business. Sure. Okay. So treasurer's report, John Mulligan.
Okay, we haven't received November numbers yet, but I'll report as of October. We continue to do very well. Cash is in a great position. Ken has had a favorable budget or favorable variance against the budget for $8,000. Their net income is $80,000 through 10 months, and I expect that to grow probably to close to $90,000. Food and beverage had a favorable variance, a budget of $15,000 for the month, and year-to-date favorable variance, the budget of $23,000. Common area has unfavorable variance 15 for the month, and has a year-to-date favorable variance of $20,000 for the year. And we think at this time, most of that's going to be timing. And G&A had unfavorable variance for the month at 4,000 and is 7,000 unfavorable year-to-date. The year-to-date net income as of 10/31 is $31,000 versus the budget of negative 85,000 for a favorable variance of $116,000. That $116,000 variance is totally made up of revenue. The expense side of the budget, although we have some ups and downs, is within $3,000 of budget. And that's a budget of over $3.2 million.
Not bad.
Yeah, very good. But that is why I push back and will continue to push back on tennis and social income side of the budget. Unless there's a really, really, really good reason, the revenue should never come down year to year. Any questions?
Yeah, I've got two. One,
Yes, sir.
I mean, everyone, I guess, can answer is what has been, if any, the reaction to the budget that we finally sent out to the community? Has anybody?
I've heard nothing.
I've heard nothing. Mark's heard nothing. Anybody heard anything? Okay, that's good.
Yeah, you'll hear it in January when the bills actually haven't been paid or they forgot.
All right, the second
Adjust
one,
their-
the second one, John, and I should know this, but I don't. We just paid Brightview $103,000 for cleanup.
Just need calls through.
Yeah.
Where did that money come from? Did it come from the insurance payment? Where did it come
No,
from?
that's, I was gonna add that. I forgot to add that. So that's coming out of our cash. That's coming out of our operating cash. That's why it's very important to have a strong operating cash. So of the $116,000 above, budget right now, I expect most of that to go away because, as you said, we just got 103,000. We actually had $165,000 budget for a bill from Brightview. Mark negotiated it down to 103,000. So that will hit our bottom line next month. So
It's not, that's a pretty big hunk of cash, but you're still comfortable with our cash position going into next year will be adequate?
yes, it's more than adequate. That's why we have, our operating cash at the end of October was $960,000. Okay. So yeah, we got over $100,000 here. Not only that, but we also just paid out a couple $100,000 out of reserves. So once again, that's why it's very, very important to have strong reserve and strong cash balance.
They'll argue with your good man.
So kudos to Mark for negotiating a $60,000 saving for us. That's appreciated.
Just a quick anecdotal remark. Irma in 2017 ran us around, I want to say somewhere around 80 to 85,000 in direct expense. We didn't utilize the any of the reserve monies at that time. We did use the reserve money this time for the roof because it was damaged in the storm. We did use reserve money that was set aside for deductible on that. We paid the deductible. I think we had 150 in reserves. We paid $108,000 deductible because we have a $3.5 million property. And then we received a check for $66,000 to start the roof. And then the roof will be paid for with no extra out of pocket to us. So that's one good thing, but just in 2017 to 2022, 5 years with inflation and everything else, kind of went from the 85 to the 103. And we did get to negotiate it down by 60 grand, but I think that's probably right in the wheelhouse where we probably, if you want to call it hindsight, tucking away not only an insurance deductible, but some form of piggy bank money that's for, expenses related to natural disasters of some form that resides in maybe its own, not long-term capital account, but in a disaster account that isn't reserves, but it is used for expenses as cash. Because if we were on the other side back in the day when we're running on 350 to 500,000, some of these expenses might hit us a little harder. So maybe something to think about as we move down the road.
That's what I wanted to add. I think that we stress that once again, another hurricane, and we had no special assessment in Sterling Oaks.
Compared to some of them that we know of, really.
Yes, there were some really unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, gang, let's keep
One
rolling.
question, should we really vote on paying the 60? That was in the budget. Whatever, 130. Can we really vote on that either?
Okay.
It's an expenditure over the $10,000. it's like another,
Well, it's a,
I don't think we have any need to place
we're
it.
paying out 40, 50 grand.
Yeah, I mean, this is a contractual expense. It's doing business if you want to improve.
It's not really it wasn't really in the contract. Okay, I'll make a motion that I'll
Authorize
pay
the payment,
what's the correct number
103,000.
or 2,000.
for the
Hurricane.
hurricane cleanup.
That's
Second.
Lydia seconds, all in favor of paying this amount, raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
I,
Done unanimously. Thank you very much. Let's move along to, where are we? Treasurer, the committee project team reports, landscape. Did we do activities?
Yeah. I guess activities.
Okay, let's do activities and landscape.
Okay. Thanksgiving buffet was a sold out event and 45 attended. The buffet was good with a nice variety of foods and great service. In December 6th, Romgo got off to a roaring start. First, a visit to Revs Institute, Naples' finest classic auto museum, followed by a nice dinner at various restaurants. More events are planned and details will be available soon. The 7th, Girls' Night Out. Ladies had a great afternoon. It started about 11 when you could look around at all the vendors' wares, register for prizes, and sample some of the items as well as make purchases. On to a nice lunch, followed by a quarter auction, which was a lot of fun. The proceeds went to the Legacy Scholarship Fund. The 9th, all enjoyed a delightful poolside buffet with entertainment by Thistle and Lace. 13th, the Legacy fundraiser gift wrapping at the club. Bring your gifts and let us wrap. That was last night, and it all went well. Today, the concert package tickets went on sale. Sales were pretty brisk for day one. 114 packages were sold. The 16th, Friday dining with curbside service. The 20th, community knife sharpening day in the parking lot. And New Year's Eve, the 31st, celebration at the club, 6 to 11, music by Jason DeSimone. Dinner at 7:30. Nicole has over 78 reservations as of this time. And it's always a special event at the club. The staff goes all out to decorate, prepare, and present food, mix some nice drinks, provide hats and noisemakers, and in general, get you in a good mood to start a new and exciting year. Okay, January 8th, on the spot, dermatology will return to our parking area. It's a wonderful event. You call ahead to give your insurance information. You can get checked for moles, lumps, and bumps. They also have a variety of cosmetic enhancements that are available. Come visit them. There's no charge. It's from 8 until 5:30. And the phone number is 941-444-0011. Could be your most important 15 minutes of your life. Tennis round robin. I've had various people tell me various times and dates. I've got it down for the 6th of January. There's barbecue at the pool on the 6th with New York Rhythm. The barbecue events will occur monthly at the pool. The 10th is the second in the Cornhole Tournament Series, $5 entrance fee. Come and cheer on your favorite for $0. Get some food and drink and just enjoy this fun event at our club. The 9th is the glow party in our club with food and music and a DJ spinning the tunes. Wear white, and yes, the black light will make you glow. How many times in one night will one's partner say, "My dear, you are absolutely glowing tonight"? I can vision somebody saying that in my family. 11 is a girls' night out chef demo. Eric is working on the menu. We are looking forward to an interesting, fun, and informative day. Cooking lessons and demos are fun for those who love to cook and enjoy the art of cooking. 1:50 live music at the pool, 12:30 to 3:30. Reservations are not necessary. Just pop in and enjoy the tunes, grab a bite, and get a cool drink. Dining on the 13th and the 27th with music by Jason DeSimone. As usual, curbside service is available. On the 15th, live music at the pool, 12:30 to 3:30. I think I said that before. The 17th is the book club, 1 o'clock at the club. The book is Horse by Geraldine Brooke. The 19th, Bocce 101. Show up at 10 o'clock for a bocce demo lesson by a bocce expert. The event is at the courts. The 20th is Dining with Thistle and Lace. If you have not had the pleasure of enjoying the talent of these two talented musicians, you should make a reservation. 23rd is the annual health fair from 11:30 to 1:30. Such a wonderful event and a real service to our community. Nicole brings in health vendors from all areas of health concerns. Get your blood pressure checked, check on your glucose, your eyes, your ears, and on and on. You can get questions answered, pick up informative literature, and check out the wide variety of health services in our area. 1:30 brings our first concerts in the 2023 Sterling Oaks Concert Series. Music of the 80s is the first one. They were fun times, crazy clothes, and great music. Prince, ABBA, Michael Jackson, Madonna, Bee Gees, and 1,000 more. Great music for dancing and singing along. Now, I have the Vienna hours down here, and I think what Mark said just kind of disagrees with what I have. I have Christmas Eve, the 24th, and New Year's Eve, the 31st, 11 to 2 at the Cabana. And I have the day after Christmas, December 22nd, open from 11 to 2:30. But I have it closed Christmas Day and New Year's Day. What say you, Suzanne?
I have the 24th, 11 to 2, the 25th closed, the 26th, 11 to 2:30, the 30th, it just is the dining room
11 to
closed.
2.
Yeah, so the 31st, I have 11 to 2:30, and then they'll close to come
Yeah.
upstairs.
So they're closed.
The first 11 to 2. It's been in the FYIs on the bottom.
Yeah.
of the right.
So they're closed New Year's Day and Christmas Day, right?
No, they're closed.
I know he did.
They're closed Christmas Day.
Only Christmas Day. Okay. Okay. That's
For hours, 11 to 2 on January 1st, rather than 11 on the 4th.
I've got the 31st. They're open 11 to 2.
Yeah, that's New Year's Eve.
Mhm. Okay. The Activities Committee is always looking for better ways to communicate our events with all of you. We're looking forward to our new cable company's community channel, where one can go to that channel and pull up the upcoming events. Hopefully that will be ready very soon, and thank you for that. Of course, we are always hoping for a paper copy of our event schedule. Newsletter we previously had was appreciated. Included pictures and a nice calendar to help you plan your events. I'm hopeful that anyone who would like that would mention it on the strategic plan. I would also like to mention that the staff and committee are always looking for ways to be inclusive and get as many people as possible to all events. We're hopeful that our outdoor events can have no limitations for reservations, and that easy access to the multi-purpose room or some type of outside covering can provide enough protection or facility space so that we do not have to limit the number of reservations for outside events. Food and Beverage and Activities Committee would like to wish you all a happy, prosperous, most importantly, a healthy new year.
Thank you, Lynn. Sounds like the Activities Committee is hitting the ground running. They're doing a great job. Please let them know we appreciate that. I enjoy hearing that report every month. Sure sounds like a lot of work is happening. So please extend our appreciation to that. Hey, let's go to landscaping. Lanny.
The Landscaping Committee met on October 7th and December 9th. 2022 plantings. Many new plantings have been installed and are doing well. The Landscaping Committee focused on the clubhouse areas, neighborhood entrances, and Sterling Oaks Drive this year. More dead and dying plants will be removed this month pending remaining funding. Maintenance issues. The LC is monitoring several problem areas. Trimming has resumed and is back on schedule. The LC expects adjustments will be recommended by the Finance Committee. Palm pruning was completed. The tree survey should be started this week. Clubhouse water feature. As I reported back in December of 2021, our current water feature is not functioning properly despite many attempted repairs. It also uses pond water that results in dark, dirty appearing water. The pump was not installed in the proper location and burned out several times. The landscaping committee would like the board to consider a renovation of the existing waterfall using a waterfall filtering system. Details are attached. We understand that this item will be on the January board agenda. Landscaping contractor. Brightview has demonstrated declining responsiveness, poorer communication, and inability to provide contractual trimming and pruning services as scheduled. The LC recommends that Sterling Oaks selects a new landscaper. The landscaping committee will meet next on January 12th at 9 a.m. to begin for the property to develop 2023 priorities.
Jack.
Encouraged about the, what you had to say about the water.
Yes.
I'm paraphrasing it. Basically, what you think we should do at a minimum is fix the water part
Correct.
of the water feature and leave the rest alone.
Correct.
The only thing I don't understand, I can wait, certainly wait till January, is how the water part of it gets fixed. You know, you say what is currently present to fill the pond.
It's irrigation water.
Yes. Essentially, we would have to use Collier County potable water to fix the landscape feature.
No.
No, I mean, if you wanted crystal clean water on an ongoing basis, probably yes. If you want it to be the way it is, only utilizing this waterfall filter pond kit, you would have a biological waterfall filter that could be installed to assist in keeping the water cleaner than it is currently.
However, will it be prone to breaking down or cleaning?
I don't have enough knowledge about the how, what, where, when. Because like Alan said, he doesn't know how it was originally constructed with the existing piping, and how it would be physically managed. He feels a little reticent in becoming the pond guy. So I think if we could find some individual to assist us in maybe working with this system, it might be a alternative that could give us a better
Okay,
system.
my feeling and recent experience with this has been a little sluggish, I think. I would like a response from the board in terms of how you feel about this as a priority. And we keep putting it off, it seems. We're going to deal with it in January. And we want to deal with it now. And there are any number of things we think we could do, from landscaping the area entirely and forget about the water feature, or resurrecting the water feature to the point where it's healthy again. So I guess I need to know from you all where you stand on this. Where are your priorities before we spend a lot of time between now and January researching and doing all this stuff? Tell me to go ahead with it or tell me to drop it, but tell me something so we have a little idea of where to go.
That's the question. You're saying that we don't think we can get it operating again for $3,400 plus some other labor costs.
That's a suggestion, yes.
Yeah.
It will look, certainly, it should look far less scuzzy and disgusting than it does now. And we should hear far fewer complaints from homeowners about the horrible look.
Just go ahead proceeding with it if that cost amount, assuming that Alan is privileged to do some of it.
No. Well, it sounds like.
Why not?
Because he doesn't feel comfortable in knowing enough about how it was originally constructed. He thinks that there's more than meets the eye.
Well,
out
I'm
of
saying
there.
that's part of going ahead to find out,
Yeah.
okay?
I
I'm
would-
not sure we.
I don't think that $3,400 is probably the number that's gonna be necessary by the time we get it all looked at, taken apart, put back together and everything. I can tell
We
you, I
need to
think,
go ahead and proceed to know what we need to do.
yeah, he's just,
Or we could landscape.
he just doesn't feel comfortable about being the pool waterfall engineer, because that's not his forte, or his understanding. I mean, he goes, I can dig you a hole in the ground and put a pump in there, I guess. I just don't know how the rest of this system is working the way it is. He just feels a little.
All right, Ken Swallen, what do you think? Let's go to Mike Hargrave. How do you feel about it?
You're muted.
Muted. How labor intensive is this filtration system going to be for our staff?
That's what we don't know. It harbors visions of a lot more work than it might appear on the surface. John Miho.
Yeah, I think for the $3,000 or $4,000 to try to get it back running and is a lot better than the $65,000 that we were bouncing around for replacing the whole system. So it sounds logical that we try it anyway.
I would agree if it's only 3,500, but I doubt it's going to be that amount. John Mulligan, how do you feel?
I think it looks like hell right now, and I wouldn't mind spending more money considering we spent $40,000 to do the monuments in front, and they don't look much different than they do now. I mean, they did, in my opinion. So we spent $40,000 for that. I think we should spend more money to get this thing, which is right in front of our clubhouse.
Yeah.
Well, my response to your question is a combination of what I think about the future now and money. I personally don't think what we have now is very disgusting. I personally think that what we have now is adequate, but I know there's a lot of us that think it's disgusting. I would be very willing to give this a priority. Something like this, I'm all in favor of. I would be in favor of doing something to make it look better, and I would be comfortable with that to the tune of something in the neighborhood of $20,000. That's the way I feel about it.
India.
I agree with that. There are a lot of people that have backyard ponds in larger communities that have their own pond in their own backyard that's nicer than that. So it's not outrageous to have a pond. Secondly, there's some nice stones, nice big flat, thick rocks in there that are absolutely beautiful. Oh, who put it in? What company put it in? Is there another company that can come here and look at it if those people are out of business? Can another company come and look at it and examine what our situation is? And then what it costs to fix it? Because the water
The
is
answer is yes to all
terrible.
of those questions, and it's going to cost us more than what I think it is.
I think
Ken Swallen, do you have any comment?
The cheapest was 50. The people that did the work on it said 80.
Yeah, I'm just talking about.
True.
Diagnosis.
Okay, thank you for your input.
I think Ken had something to say.
Ken?
Yeah, I think we have to do something with it, but I don't see spending 60,000 on it. But, I don't know in today's environment what it's gonna run,
Okay, thanks for that input. Personally, I am totally ambivalent. I think You could leave it, no one would notice at this stage, but that's why I needed your input. We'll move forward on this. I understand that we shouldn't be spending a ton of money on this. But if we can get it functioning better than what it is now, we'll move forward with that without breaking the bank. That makes sense?
I'll look in, I'll get with Alan and ask him about these situations and then see if we can do some investigative work on it.
Would lake doctors do anything like that?
You know, I don't know. I'll ask and.
Where did this come from, Wayne?
One of the chair of the landscaping committee.
All right, so we'll move forward on this within reason. So let's go to old business now. Do we have old business? And let's go to new business. We have well, Mark, why don't we turn this over to you to handle A, B, and C?
Well, the landscaping contract, I expert, gave a nice presentation. However, the contract that they specifically have given us has not been vetted. I think it needs to be reviewed. I think it also needs to have a legal opinion to make sure that the community is specifically covered. I'd also like Lanny, to some degree, the landscaping committee to review it from a standpoint of its the needs that we've been hearing about, to make sure that that's been done so that we have that part of the vetting process. So I think as soon as we get some of that done, then we can move forward. I guess the Bright View itself, their contract is up in end of January. They are on a 30-day notice. When we let Leo Juniors go and took on Brightview, it was kind of in the middle of, I think we had either thought about signing their contract or we were in the middle of their contract, because I think that they were up in the June timeframe and we canceled them ahead of time. The Brightview does have a 30-day clause in there. I can only tell you that they feel like they put their best foot forward with this negotiation of $60,000. They also seem to, woke up and smelled the coffee, but I think a little too late. I think that they've been screwing us, pardon my French, for quite some time on not giving us the product and services for the money that we're faithfully paid. So I think that we would like to probably terminate Brightview and hire another company. I just want to make sure that if we are going to hire another company, that the contract is specific to our needs and we have some teeth in that contract to make sure that we can hold
And
them
within our
accountable.
budget.
And it's within our budget. So,
And those are the only two experts in Brightview are the only ones. that
yes,
can-
I can only tell you that I put out the RFPs to Crawford, Workaholics, Greenscapes, Mainscapes, Juniper, Top Cut. I think there was 2 or 3 others. I can tell you the Workaholics, Greenscapes, Crawford, and one others all refused to give us any bids whatsoever. Said no, thank you. We're not interested in Rick Roberts, who does Legends and a bunch of other nice communities up the upper side of Fort Myers. They said no, we're not interested either. So then when we got down to it, as you all know, Top Cut was a company that's quite a lot larger cost wise. Find out that they were in Federalist Creek, like they said. They were in Majorca. They lost Majorca for some odd reason. So I don't know what happened there. But FYI.
Mark,
So
I have a feeling that we burned a lot of bridges. Is that true?
I just think that what we have is a unique community that requires a lot of specialized care, hand mowing, push mowing. It's not an easy community. One person wants this, one person wants that. Our mulching situation is a nightmare because, as you know, your neighbor wants mulch and you want pine straw. And the houses are this close together It's a difficult community. And because we've been this way for 25 years, we can't change that overnight. So, the landscapers looking into this probably go, yeah, I'm just not really wanting to deal with it.
I would chime in though that I think the board should think about changing that. And that, because I think it's gonna, I think this is gonna continue to be a huge problem.
I agree. I think mulch regardless
Right.
is going to become a problem for all communities
Right.
simply because of the getting it. I can tell you now with the debris from the hurricane, there's probably plenty of mulch around. I just don't know if you want it in your yard.
Right.
It's probably cheap.
But the variety that we have here is not good for the look of the community. A community that has the same type of pine straw or mulch on every property looks so much better than what we have. And so that there's the aesthetics, but there's also this huge headache. And that if the board to eliminate the choice and then just decide that we are going with, natural mulch or pine straw everywhere, it would improve the situation tremendously.
Browning.
The question, what number do we have a number from them? What does it include?
The number,
How does
the
it
number
compare
from
to
them,
the number we have in our budget?
The number that's in your budget is based on experts'
Are
proposal.
we gonna talk about that?
it is the same. Whatever the budget is now, that for 2023 is experts' numbers.
It's exactly the same?
That's what it's
And
based on.
does it include palm tree?
Yep.
Does it include, what is included on mulch?
Pine straw application,
What?
pine straw application, or there's funds available for a pine straw application.
But it includes pine straw for community. We've always put the mulch down in the community stuff, even though we include the pine straw.
Yeah,
for
that's
roads.
included.
It's included.
I throw with an opt-out.
But does it include the mulch for the common
Yes,
community?
of course.
But pine straw for the other?
But there's an opt-out, correct?
That'll be determined at the time of mulching.
By you.
That's not.
It's a provision for, said if someone.
The money is there, but expert is not gonna do the most. They won't do it. Because it's such a.
That's
headache.
not true.
Oh,
Well, we don't know.
Okay.
They're trying to wrap their heads around how to make it
okay,
most beneficial.
okay,
So, anyway.
that's the new.
Okay,
information.
Mark,
Anyway,
carry on, please.
strategic plan update.
So when it's a vote, the board voting on this landscaping contract.
It's vetted lately.
So the earliest that we can make the transition would be like February one.
Mhm.
Oh, no, not February one, it'd be March.
Nope, everywhere. We could do it January 15th. Doesn't matter.
Well, except you have to give them 30 days notice and we have to vote. We won't have a vote till mid-January, right?
Could you vote on it and then come back if there's an issue that Jason sees within the contract?
Could you call a special meeting? Could you vote on it today pending Jason's review?
Or if we need after Jason's review, if we need a special meeting, have it. But there probably isn't gonna be a need for it.
That would certainly be better, because the earlier in the year that we could switch, the better from the landscaping.
Yeah,
committee's
I agree with you.
perspective.
I agree with you. It's a big contract and I want to make sure that
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I definitely want just to,
I hate going through these things.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we could vote on it based on Jason's
Review.
and approval recommendation.
well, and landscaping, because they haven't seen it either.
I
Well,
just
at
think,
this stage,
yeah, I mean, I have not personally gone over the contract.
Okay,
I'd like at least a few pair of eyes to get on it. Do you all agree, put it this way, do you all agree that because our budget in 2023 is based on experts' numbers, that somehow, some way, we're gonna end up with expert, and that we have to move that way. How do you wanna?
I think it depends on Jason's review. And upon his recommendation, I think we can move in that direction.
Okay.
Based on those numbers,
Right.
because there's always Brightview in the background that meets our budget requirements.
That's correct.
And if for some reason Jason says you can't go with this outfit for whatever reason, we only have one other outfit in the background. So my recommendation is to have the board vote on this outfit pending Jason's approval. Do you need any other vetting credentials?
I mean, I think that the landscaping committee, I'll even have Eric, who just went through the whole mishmash about dealing with our cable contract. Patients that went through that. I don't mind having a second set of eyes to look at those kinds of things. I think that that's okay.
I would say that the landscaping committee is advisory. They can advise you. But if they said, no, I don't like that outfit, that should not hold us up.
No, I don't think it'd say that. I think that it'd probably just be minor, making sure that they cover the services, the goods and services that are required.
Or in the RFP.
Yeah, that are in the RFP.
The RFP.
We're not gonna add those.
Okay, so I'm considering a motion here that says we are going to accept based on Jason's blessing that we go with expert. And you can vet it through the landscaping committee. Oh, that's fine. You can review, you can call recommendations, whatever. But I think that's the only thing holding us up from approving this thing at this point.
Well, let's put some dates on it. How about this, Paul? I move that we hire expert effective February 1st for our landscaping needs, pending vetting by Jason and input from the landscape committee on details.
Concerned about. Jason can look at the legal aspect. And my guess is legally, there's gonna be no problem. I'm more concerned about some of the details of whether or not it includes, not include. So I don't see Jason as critical. I see it as, since you said you haven't personally reviewed it, and they haven't reviewed
Landscaping
it,
committee.
does it really provide? You've got that long, you've got that list you put out, certain number of shrubberies, that schedule, does it fill that or not? That's my concern, is not Jason. I think legally the contract will be legal. We might not, we might need to negotiate some details on it.
Yeah, I want Jason to look at it. 'Cause,
Oh, yeah, I won't, don't get me wrong, Jason
you
look
know,
at it, but
What is clear, our RFP said 6 weeks. They said they'll do it every 6.5 weeks. I mean, I think that I think the landscaping committee will say, okay. with that.
I'm more
If you don't-
concerned about the details of what it covers
Yeah, well, I am too.
than the legal aspect. I mean, he needs to review it,
Yeah.
but I'm not concerned.
But are you okay with 6.5 weeks instead of 6? I think that if the
It was
board wants
8,
to be
9.
involved- I'm sorry?
It was 8,
It really
9.
wasn't 6.
Sometimes.
No, it wasn't 6. No, but the RFP said 6.
Eric?
So, yeah, just as a point of order on this, what we did with the cable contract was have a 2-page section that said, this is what the highlights of the contract are and the responsibilities. And it was separate from the legalese. It was more in line with what was said in the RFP. If mowing was going to be every other day and, trimming, you put those items on that page or two, and it's right out there in front. Then you don't worry about legal issues that may involve liability and bad weather and stuff like that. It's just so everybody's on the same page.
The motion I made had two critical parts to it. Part number one is we get a legal vetting, and I think that's gonna be easy. Part number two is we get landscaping committee eyes, if you will, on this contract to make sure that it does what we want.
And Mark's eyes too.
Well, and Mark. Those two things happened. Go with these people effective February 1st.
Here's my problem. The landscaping committee says it doesn't have enough. We want more. And it goes beyond our budget limitation.
Yeah, I think that's a potential problem.
Well, but I think,
Yeah.
well, I guess what I envision is that you're asking landscaping to ensure that it meets the RFP, not what we think should happen.
Yeah, I can buy into that.
Yeah.
That I can buy
Yeah,
into,
so yeah.
because I want to remind the board that these are advisory groups.
Yeah.
It'll be a short while in the future before we start wrestling with the tennis committee in terms of where we might go. And they, again, are advisory. They don't tell us what to do. They advise us. Same thing with the landscaping committee. I'm much more comfortable with reviewing the RFP.
Well, no, I think we need to make sure that the contract matches the RFP. And you.
Right,
uh,
right.
and-
I'm comfortable with that.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
and
fine.
that's all I'm looking to do.
That's
You
fine.
know, I'm concerned whether this company's gonna follow through. I was impressed with what they say. It's certainly concerning that they've never done a portal and they think they're gonna make us happy with the portal, but maybe they get. I know that you're not willing to go with what I think is the right company for us. But I think this sounds better than Brightview, and that
Yeah.
seems to be our choices.
Yeah.
And so I'm not looking for anything other than.
Okay, that makes sense. to
Deciding
me.
that this-
With that understanding, I support that.
Yeah, no problem.
Motion on the table.
I had seconded it.
Second, all in favor of the motion, please raise your hand and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Very good.
Last,
Could you,
I got one last thing.
for clarification, could you read the motion back to make sure?
Sure. I have a motion made by Charles Clucci to accept the landscaping contract with Expert Landscaping to start February 1st, pending review by attorney and landscape.
Gentlemen's agreement that the landscaping committee responsibility is just compliance with the RFP.
Okay.
So with today, that all needs to be done by December 31st then.
Right.
In other words, to be able to get Broadview notice, that means that has to be done in the next 10 days, well, 15, 16 days.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Send me the contract.
I will. I'll send it to
So
you.
is that no problem? Jason's around.
All right, we'll send it out to you now.
Yeah.
So
We'll get a response from Jason.
I'll get it. I'll talk to Jay. I got one last thing. The back gates, to the community, are white. They are banged up. They look like crap. They got signs all over them. Everything's faded. I've talked to, Access Control Systems, who makes gates, to put black gates out there with reflector strips. So at night, when you drive up, you actually will see them. We do have to have a couple of signs. One is the towing sign that's required by law. And the other one will simply say resident gate only. All others enter through US 41. But all the rest of it is, gobbledygook. So anyways, that, to do all of that is $10,100 some dollars. And I know Alan's going to be a part of it. But it'll be, nice black gates that mirror the rest of the community as far as the black gates that we have now. But it's over my limit, over Paul's limit. And I looked at getting Russ Carter fence. Carter fence basically said, yeah, maybe in 2 or 3 years. We'll see if we get to Russ Carter fence says, you're gonna wait at least 8 to 9 months, maybe. Classified said, I can get it. I know of the materials. Well, I've got some within my grasp. I can get it to you in 6 to 8 weeks. So I was hoping that we could move forward with that and
Let's hear from John Mulligan.
Mark, do we have, this a reserve item?
yes, it is in the reserves and the money is there.
It's just the gates, not the motors.
That's
Just
not
literally
motors,
just the gates.
just the gates
Not
themselves.
the
Yeah,
motors,
right.
the sensor.
Right.
We've
Yeah.
gotten that new sensor.
Yeah, don't need any of that.
It'll be right under 12.
Yeah, by the time it's all.
Okay, you need a motion.
I'm a motion maker. I'm not afraid.
Do I have a second? Lindsay, a second. Okay, if there are no other discussion, all in favor of this motion signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
I,
Have, yeah, I want to get the count. Everyone said yes.
What do I have to do with it?
All right, unanimous. Linda,
I am working on it, and when you come in at night, it is very dark before you get up on our entrance.
No,
There is no light out there. It's the way to shoot a beam out somehow. Well, I'm coming in the back gate at night.
There is some light.
There is a light, but believe me, unless you're out late at night coming in, it's very hard to see our
well,
entrance.
you and Phil party people.
I-
Coming in after.
But people walking down.
Yeah, I know.
Dark.
We just have we have an easement and we are at the edge of it. I think I'll see what I can do to maybe change the LED light and maybe shine some more light onto the apron out there. Maybe that would help us out.
And then speaking of, I was reading an article where there was a batch of bad lights that came in and they kind of shoot like a white purple light. Well, we've got some through our community.
FP
Got a couple of them.
And
Trying.
trying for
Oh,
years. It's
Trying
up
to
to
get
FP
FP
now to come in and
Told me that Florida Power is some. So we're waiting.
okay, but yeah, but you got one right here too.
They got one down. there, too.
6 or 7, but
Yeah,
I've already talked to Mark about it. My understanding is we're caught that Florida Power has to do it.
that's right.
And they know about it,
I
right?
know about it. There's their
But
like.
getting around to do it
They're
with
a little
all
busy.
the working and everything. is hard.
I had, well, they had notes.
It's vast condos, I thought.
okay, Lanny.
You mentioned that the social memberships. I wondered if you could give all of us some information about what's being discussed so that we have a chance to think about it and
Okay, good
between now
point.
and the next meeting.
Good point. So here's a job for all of you, be thinking about this. And lately how many tennis members do we have?
3, I didn't have a pension. All time record 397,
397.
which is about
A lot of
7
people.
higher than we had a year,
Yeah.
height last year.
And
And some of it could be what you're talking.
yeah. And it's a lot of people. And we have record numbers at pickleball currently. Now, what we have also are people knocking on our doors for social memberships, $1,000 a piece. And we're at our limit, 10. We all agreed a couple of years ago to set the social memberships at 10. We're at that. They can't get a social membership, so they're buying a tennis membership for a family. An extra cost, and they still think that's a bargain. So we've got a ton of people coming in here, and I understand from the group I played with that there are a few more out there that are coming in, buying tennis memberships just to access pickleball alone. The clubhouse and the other amenities, I haven't heard much about that, but particularly pickleball. That's putting quite a stress on, number one, our amenities, number two, parking alone. Part of it you heard today, what Mark was talking about in terms of clearing this area down here, just so staff can get in. But it's an issue that I want a discussion with the board on where are we going with this? What does it mean? What does it mean for the future of Sterling Oaks? And I think it's serious enough that we have to talk about it.
Has, Ken has Chips,
He hasn't been at any pickleball meetings. I have brought it up and
Okay.
been shut down real quick. So,
Yeah, like.
so I think that's where Paul is saying that.
Pickleball doesn't want any organization. They want to police and organize themselves. They're very happy with what they're doing. Again, they're advisory.
okay.
They don't tell us what to do,
Right.
but they try to tell us what to do. And it's time to take a look at all of this and its impact that it's having on us. And if it's, we're at this level now, where will we be 6 months next year at this time?
I've also heard complaints from people who live in Manatee and Tavernier that pickleball players are parking in that community and blocking mailboxes.
Parking on the streets and then walking around the corners from over the pickleball,
Right.
because you can't park here. Or in the lots because it's full, and then,
But they could Sterling Arts Boulevard, which is where we need, if we had a way to remind them of how to behave, we tell them to park on Sterling.
well, if
Arts
they can park
Boulevard.
out front, which they do, it's still they're walking, they want a closer proximity to my
Well, yeah,
understanding.
But they
Yeah.
shouldn't be, in particular, blocking mailboxes, because they need.
So last summer, we had a project team to kind of study the amenities here at Sterling Oaks and what kind of impact outside tenants members had on our amenities. And we've got some pretty good data on that. And I think we'll include that in our discussions. And bottom line is, a phenomena is going on here, and we need to have a discussion about it. Where it takes us, I don't know yet. I need to hear from all of you and get some kind of direction. Because what I know now is, and maybe it's an anomaly with the hurricane, because a lot of people have their tennis courts wiped out, so they come here and they join. Now, from what I'm gathering, a lot of people actually enjoy that, and they've discovered Sterling Oaks, and chances are good that they'll stay here, even when their facilities are up and running again. So again, I think we're having an impact here on the grounds in several ways. So I think we have to study that, understand it, and get some kind of direction as we go down. So to answer your question, I don't have a plan mapped out just yet, but I think we need a discussion because it's vibrating out there. It's telling me, talk about it.
Well, from last summer, pickleball was not able to give us data on their guests and that sort of thing. They promised they would develop a system that would do that. So I think that one thing is to ask for a report from the pickleball committee on what system they're using for identifying their guests and tracking them to ensure, because they promised they would do that.
Yeah, I don't think they have an organized standard that they're using. I think they're policing that on their own. Personally, I think they're doing a good job with that. And they're okay, but it's growing. You know, you just walk by there, you look at those courts, they're filled constantly. So there are a lot of players there. There are a lot of players on the tennis court. It impacts food and beverage. We know that. And we're getting all kinds of problems and concerns about food and beverage and accessing the concert series, the things outdoors. John Mulligan.
Well, I mean, you just made a good point. I just want to go, Lonnie keeps on bringing pickleball. That's all she's concerned about. But it's a lot more than pickleball. It's food and beverage. It's a pool. I know nobody uses the damn pool. Okay, with all these people going into tennis to use the pool, it's a different story now. So let's just not concentrate on pickleball. It's everything.
Yes, that's the point I'm making.
I know you're making a point, but I want to make sure Laney understands it.
Yes, I'm sure she does. It's a phenomenon that's occurring and we need to talk about it. Chat.
Ronnie, this one's for you.
I remember a brief conversation we all had months ago about tennis memberships and the capacity of our courts to absorb it. Do you have any input? We've got 400 tennis members now.
Well, but right now, for some reason, with the holiday season, there's lots of courts available. We'll be looking at that when we get to the spring, but I don't think it's gonna be an issue because we're gonna 30 time also, so I don't think that's gonna be an issue, but we're gonna follow it, okay?
Right now, you're not worried about it.
But
Right now, you're not worried about it.
we're not worried about it, but we're gonna monitor it and see if we should be
That's all
worried
I'm
about
thinking
it.
about.
But for some reason lately, there's been, even in my 30 I've seen some before, until everybody gets it. And some people, it includes some of these people who are playing pickleball,
Yeah.
who aren't even playing tennis. Okay?
Right. Okay.
But I still, and I've asked you, if you buy a social membership, it does include a sticker on the card, right? Because I periodically check the end of the lot. And I see people getting out when they play pickleballs with no sticker, which assume they have to be a guest, but I still think there's a lot of guests, maybe quote legal guests playing pickleball that don't have a membership, which is the opposite. In other
Well,
words,
the
maybe
guests,
it's even worse than having people who want to get social memberships. We have people who are just playing pickleball who don't have.
well, it's not really pickleball, as John says. I mean, they infiltrate tennis, they'll infiltrate the clubhouse, the pool, all of this area. These are the things we have to talk about. Len,
John, the reason why I mentioned pickleball is that that's the one area that we don't have any data on. In the project team that met over the summer. Because of the reluctance of the pickleball committee to integrate into some of our other data systems, we just don't have the information, and they promised they would be bringing us some data, but we still don't have it.
Lanny, I don't know that we have good information on any of it because you said on your report that most of the people use the pool in the morning, except that I go there in the afternoon and can't find a chair. So I don't think that the data really reflects what's going on.
You forget, Ken, that only shows the time they enter the pool, not whether they're still there. That's the data that we have because it's only on gate entry. So the data didn't say that they're at the pool more in the morning. They just enter more in the morning, and some of them stay all day, and some of them
Well,
keep coming
that's
in.
true. However, the families come in the afternoon and the families all enter on one pass. They don't enter on each individual
Right,
short,
right. And that's why
recording
it
of
said
pass.
that it's just the number of entries. It's not the number of people, it's the number of entries.
might be a walkthrough to the tennis court. Let's go to Lindy and then sit down.
So, going back to what I said about what's being all inclusive here, the goal of the activities committee is to include all. But if outside people are bringing guests that are causing trouble, you would certainly want to look at that, I would think, before you would want to look at losing your membership. So into this, I can have an open mind, but I think we have outside guests acting us, and I would want to look at that, certainly get some feedback on that and some statistic on that. Because the guests and tenants are paying $10. If they're tying up our tennis courts or our pool and food and beverage, well then we don't want. So,
I think we as a board need to review why we have guests attached to our memberships to begin with. I think everything has to be out on the table.
yeah.
I mean, why do we have up to 4 guests? And why can't you just buy a tennis membership and play tennis? And why do you have to have all the amenities? Now, the tennis committee is not going to like that because they think it may impact on their enrollments. And but what's happening now is we have enrollments beyond what we can manage or practically. So I think all of this has to be on the table as we move forward. But I think we have to figure out, why do we do what we do? And is it still in these days and time acceptable? And does it still make sense?
At an excellent point. We should look at eliminating gifts before we eliminate members. Because we're generating income on members, on guests. We're not generating any income there.
Except tennis guests.
Well, I mean, for that particular thing, but we're not overall. If they're coming to events,
Right.
simply lose money. We're actually
Not at the pool or.
subsidizing. Right.
Or body.
I would like to just remind you, we still have the strategic plan on the agenda that we have.
Have to do there.
Don't you guys want to vote on sending it out?
I would just suggest if anyone has a problem with us sending it out, speak up now. Otherwise, we're going to send it out. The strategic
But
plan.
Brandy wanted.
I have a problem with it. I have a problem with it.
I saw
And we have not.
And I certainly have a problem with coming to this meeting and finding out we're sending it out January 1st and never seen it. So I would completely against sending it out on January the 1st. We could send it out on February 1st after we had a chance and vote on it next meeting. I don't understand the urgency of 1 month for 5-year strategic plan.
Where did Mark go?
I think it went to the restroom.
I thought we went over this earlier.
He brought it up in his general manager.
Number
But you have
specific questions.
on moving.
One being just a literally 16-page survey. A lot of duplication. Do you like it now? Did you like it before? Do you like it afterwards? It's a lot of duplication. Great response with this many questions in 16
Well,
pages.
this is not
People
much
run
different
through it.
than the one we sent out 3 years. It's essentially the same format with some changes.
The basic problem is this first page about, is it one per household or is it one per person? I know it's not like voting, but then we survey a year from now, we want to do this because the strategic plan, 86% of the people said this. Well, somebody that has 2 or 3 people in the household had 2 or 3 votes, where a single person has 1. So I think if we're going to, like we say, this is not a vote, we use it all the time to justify things. So in the way it is, given this
Yes,
information.
that-
We have a problem with basic things. We send this out, you know. we're gonna-
We want to know what the adults in the family, what amenities they use, what they want. So we have to be careful that.
But the homeowner shouldn't get 2 votes because there's 2 people or 3 people in the
No.
vote.
Just one.
No, it is, it's one per person. That's what
Yeah.
the survey
Well,
is set
it
up.
can be one per household, got male or female.
It's them, the instructions say,
All I'm saying, I've heard over and over, a certain number of percentage of the people vote for something. And if you got, you know, you and your husband vote for it, you and your husband vote for it, it weights it. And then a lot of people don't vote at all, and you get that effect of the vocal people controlling things.
well, but
You get 2 votes.
every person has a chance to vote. Or to complete the survey.
I don't think, I think it should be one a house.
That's not how we did it before, and the disadvantage, yeah, okay, the disadvantage is if,
We get them,
response when one person, uses, the person doesn't.
That's the problem with it anyway. I mean, you've got people, you've got all these events and most people don't use everything anyway. So we've got a lot of input into people that
Okay, I'm going to make a comment, then we'll go to John Miho. Now,
Anyway, the main problem is just the fact coming in and just seeing it for the first time, and then we gotta send it out like January the first, and it's urgent. We're talking about a 5-year plan, we certainly could wait for February.
let me say this, this is not new to the board, number one. Number two, we've had Jerry Schoenfeld, who has worked with us for 4 years now, developed the survey. We vetted this through the EC. My concern is we have to set up town hall meetings once this goes out so we can explain to the community exactly what we're talking about. And this has to land for presentation by Jerry Schoenfeld at the annual meeting. So we don't have time to put this off into next year sometime. We've got to move this along. This is a good document. It's been vetted by the EC. It's very similar to the one we did before. It's not strange. There's nothing really wacky about this. So my concern is getting it done in a timely fashion so we can set up the by neighborhoods. John.
Yeah, I haven't even had a chance to look at I guess we just got it sent to us today, but if this is going to be handled the way the original one was, where more than one vote per door, that really was a problem the last time we did this, and I didn't agree with it then, and I certainly wouldn't agree with it again.
John Mulligan.
No, I think we should send it out. If somebody wants to take a look at it for a couple of days and give a comment, you don't need a month and a half to take a look at it and make comments. So
I have to send it out until mid, the 8th, 9th. We can send it out 4th or 5th of January. You've got 3 weeks to look at it. One is, it's a survey.
I agree.
It's put together by an objective, independent, qualified source. It's not a vote on anything. It's only to get the opinions of the community, to get some ideas so that the board can start making decisions that are in the best interest of those people who want. That's how we ended up with pickleball. That's how we ended up with, changes to the size of the cabana, the pool area. It just simply is strategic planning. I don't think that these.
For a motion to approve the distribution.
I would like for all of you to take a hard look at it over the next 2 weeks. Should give you plenty of time. If there's something glaringly bizarre in there that you want to change, guys, then go ahead and let us know. I'll send it to Jerry. He's the independent qualified source that sits there and says, if we're going to have that, it has to be done this way for us to continue getting the baseline model that we've had before, so we can do comparative analysis. But he'll let us know whether or not he feels that's okay. So far, he's been very amenable to any of the changes. So I think we just have to have you guys look at it, get back to us, let me know. I'll send it to Jerry, and if you guys are okay, send it out in January. And then, like he said, once I get all that stuff back in February, put these things together, we can have the town hall meetings, and that helps you just make formulas in order to get moving forward as a board so that you can make some of those strategic initiatives prior to trying to figure out what to do when nobody's around in the summer. Lynn.
So I say, you must have, each person has to have their own survey, because people don't agree on the same things. When you go to vote for the election, you don't vote as a household, you each go vote. So, and this is a survey, why would whose opinion counts then in the House? Like, if there are two of you with opposing views, who wins?
Well, John, Pat likes to come and play cards and go to the pool. John doesn't.
Well, John's gonna have to come.
Because this is such, it's clear that at least 2 board members don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't,
That we approve that the survey will ask for responses from two family members in a two-family member home. And we get a vote on that. So we are sure that the board supports that.
Well, just to follow up, if we want any continuity whatsoever
But yeah.
with the last survey, you gotta do it the same way.
That's a good discussion. But let's just vote on it so that.
You're saying if we do something wrong, we should always keep doing it wrong.
I don't
That's,
know if the
that's.
last time we
understand that.
Did make a motion.
I need a second on that motion.
what
Can you
is,
hear
I mean, there's even an error in here that's not a true statement that's in bold letters, just little things like that.
That's why it's giving
Laney,
two.
can you
But the
please
point
repeat-
is to
repeat
come
your
in here
motion?
2 weeks before and say you're gonna send it out. I don't understand why this hasn't been sent to the board meeting, if we're gonna be voting on it today.
So
And
we'll
we're
fix
gonna be
that.
sending
We're
it out.
gonna fix
I
that.
won't vote for it. I mean, y'all go ahead and vote for it,
Okay.
but this isn't the way to run something. And I don't understand the urgency for a 5-year plan. 1 month makes that much
This
difference.
is not a 5-year plan.
All right, all
I
right.
don't know, somebody quite.
Got a
big
motion.
things.
We have a motion and a second.
Laney, can you please repeat your motion?
I want to replicate Jerry's current instructions for the survey, but I don't have that in front of me. Do you have it in front of you?
Is instructions for the survey?
Right, in terms of, that, I thought it was the two adults, should respond. Who fills it out?
I don't know.
He sent an email, a draft email that had those instructions,
Hang on.
but it's definitely more than one. It's
All right,
not
let's-
one.
Let's just say that. We don't have to.
Okay, okay. I move that we accept the survey as recommended by Jerry Schoenfeld, having more than one adult respond to the survey per home, as we did in the previous survey. Chap.
We have a second chat.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, let's vote on
I
this.
have a question.
Go ahead.
I'd like for all the board members to raise their hand if they have seen this before today. How many members have seen this before today? 3 people, 4, 5. So 5 out of 9 of us have seen it. We're given now to vote on something that 4 of the board meetings haven't even seen it to today.
Well, that's not what we're voting on.
Your flashlight.
Well,
We're
it's
not
part of
voting
the
on that.
discussion. Okay.
Because you intervened, we're going to wait. Otherwise, we would have sent it out tomorrow. But we're going to send it to you so you can review it. And then we're going to send it out in whatever date that was, later in the week, after you've had a chance to review it.
I'll check
Charlie, can
on
you turn your flashlight off on your phone?
your flashlights on your phone.
I've got a copy of it. Oh,
Thank you. Right in my eye.
That's a-
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Hi.
John. Okay, those who are against, raise your hand, please. John and Brown. Okay. All right, good.
I'll send you the instructions as well.
Okay.
I'll have to look.
Now I move that we plan to send the survey out. January. Is that where people want? But that,
How about the first week of January?
okay, first week of January.
Well, pending edits and whatnot.
Yeah, I was
As
gonna
soon,
say.
how about as soon as Jerry is able to assist us, because I think it's an email format.
Right.
But we do send hard copies or have hard copies available for those who would like to pick them up and do.
And
Okay.
let's have an understanding that Jerry will determine the edits.
Right.
That's fine, since he's the
I'll
author.
start again. I move that the proposed survey be reviewed by all board members and
have their suggested edits sent to Jerry Schoenfeld. And that a revised copy based on his professional opinion of those edits will be sent.
Hold on.
Do you want to just, do you want each board member send him their personal stuff?
No, well,
Or do you want to just go through the office?
I think that
and
the edits go to Jared via you.
hold on, I got it. Just let me type out your thoughts here.
John Mulligan's got something to say.
Yeah.
Well, have Lanny finish the motion, then we'll go to you, John.
And it'll go out in early January. I did. If I didn't, I will. Thank you.
Yes, John Mulligan.
Yeah, I don't think you want everybody sending their suggestions to Jerry, because what if the rest of us don't like what one person has to say? That's just ridiculous. So, I mean,
That's why Jerry, since he's the author of this, and he knows the balance of the document, and it's empirically formed, and he's taken great chores in doing that. So he will recognize he will accept whatever can be accepted. Let's put it that way.
what about the rest of us don't want something to be accepted when only one person does?
We don't want him adding stuff that we don't know about done. Do you want to have a special meeting on this in between?
I don't know, but I'm just thinking, because I know some of the ideas somebody's gonna come up with here or gonna put in there that,
Okay,
I think we have to trust Jerry that it's in alignment with a good survey and he can handle it.
or, you know, Mark can send the subcommittee the proposed edits, and if we think that there's anything that needs to be voted on by the board, we can check that at that time. How about that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. So the edit will go via Mark.
A motion was made by Lanny for the proposed survey to be reviewed by the board members. Any recommended edits to be emailed to Mark, to be submitted, reviewed, and considered by the subcommittee and Jerry Schoenfeld. The final survey will be distributed.
Let me give one example, back in the back.
Well, the final, I'm not done.
Amenities. Tennis
Tennis
is not even in there. It's not even in there.
Let her finish her statement here.
I was just trying to finish the motion. The final survey will be distributed to the community in early January.
Okay.
General questions. on tennis.
We have a question, John?
no, I think we're gonna vote on it, ready to vote on it.
Okay. Chat is out.
He seconded the motion prior.
A couple of general questions.
Okay, all in favor of the motion? Please signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion passes. All those who are not in favor, please raise your hand. John Beho and Browning. Okay, good. All right,
16 minutes.
All right, sorry to bring that up. I didn't have it in the.
okay,
Yeah, way to go, Cecil.
so,
I know, I'm sorry. I'm always that person.
you make a good point. This should have been in the packet.
I did
And-
not have it. So,
So we had some revisions made.
yeah, I did not get an updated copy in between the EC and Monday when I sent out the packet. So I did not. I got it when we were sitting here.
Okay,
So,
so Brownie makes a good point. In the future, we want to make sure everything's in the packet, particularly voting on them. Hey, gang.
The next board meeting, we have, it's on Thursday, January 26th at 1:30.
Right.
I would like to see Tennyson there.
Okay.
Breakdown and different things. Just-
So I have a motion to adjourn.
I motion.
Oh.
Lydia, do you second
I
that?
second it.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. 4:30.
Oh, I wonder what surprise I get to be the last meeting saying.
I don't, you deserve something, I know that.
All right, bye, everyone.
Night. Have a good Christmas.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
holiday,
too.
everyone.
Holidays.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
See you later, guys.
See ya.
Take care.
We should end the YouTube.